Thank you for joining today. I appreciate your presence. And today we're going to talk about a few things. The first one I want to talk about is Trump said he's going to put a 50% tariff back on Europe. And there's a reason I want to talk about this, not just to complain about the tariffs or be basic with it, but share some new information that a lot of people probably haven't seen about it, why I don't necessarily trust it. And this is going to lead to an overarching theme of what's going on in the macro in politics, because I think once you understand the big picture, all the small events are really just designed to make people freak out or obsess over somebody. And that's kind of my whole theme of this episode without being too hipster and complaining about it. I want to talk about why I'm getting bored of politics, because for years, I was super just motivated to make videos every single day. And I'm not blaming the current state of affairs. It's just, I think the older you get, the wiser you get, the more you understand it. Sometimes the less you want to say about it, because a lot of it is fake and people just can't seem to understand that. So without being annoying with it, hopefully this is interesting and relatable and relevant to you guys. But I'm going to talk about that and really talk about a few topics that I haven't over the last week. So should be a great show. I appreciate you being here. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if it sounds good. Give me a thumbs up on the video for the algorithm. Dream Rare Podcast starts right now. And thanks again for being here.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on YouTube? What's going on Facebook? What's going on Rumble? Let's see. Nettie said she can only listen for a little bit. Well, a little bit's better than nothing. $500 fine said it would be cool if Trump lived up to his campaign promises, and you were 100% stoked about it. Someone said politics has become so hateful. I hear that. It's a lot of things, but sometimes people do and don't want to hear this. I mean, I don't know what people want to hear anymore, but I don't really care what's popular. This is what's inspirational to me, but also I think it's relatable, because a lot of this stuff is just, I don't know. It could be very stressful when you're too into it and too off of the center line. So I have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to get into the title of the video, which I figured wouldn't be the biggest seller, but I didn't have another alternate headline that I thought could pull more viewers. So I just went with what I was going to start with. And I'm just going to read part of this little thing from Trump. Not going to read the whole thing, but he made a Truth Social post about the European Union and how they're taking advantage of the U.S. on trade. They're very difficult to deal with. Their powerful trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, etc., unfair to Americans. They said we have a trade deficit with them of over 250 million more a year, and that he's going to put 50% tariff on the EU starting June 1st. So this is a new negotiation tactic to try to get, Europe to play ball. And he's putting a 50% tariff. I think to the average viewer, tariffs are kind of boring, right? They're not like as exciting as like an Epstein Bongino video. And there's a lot, I guess, all sorts of opinions on tariffs. There's people like Thomas Massie and Ron Paul that drive a hard line, or Rand Paul. And then there's other people that want to bring business back. It's fascinating to some, boring to some, but what I'm trying to say is I see a lot of people that they don't really think much about it. They're more just exporting their thoughts to a politician that they like. So they'll be like, well, I'm not really going to think about it because I feel like it could do this and it could do that. And the truth is, it's very multifaceted. I've talked to people where they've brought their business back to the US and it's worked. They used to do more business with China. I talked to a neighbor and they said, we're losing a lot of money from tariffs because we do business with China. But now because of the tariffs, we don't feel like dealing with them. We found a manufacturer made in America. So there's cases, I think without being a fence rider, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be honest. You can't say that it's this or that when in reality, there's going to be a lot of businesses that do come back to the US, which is good. And then there's going to be some other things that aren't so good. So I try to be very honest about it. It's not just one-sided or the other. But with this EU thing, I'm going to play a clip in a second. People might have seen it. Some might not have. But I made this video because I'm all for bringing American business back. I don't trust Europe at all. I don't trust the EU. But I noticed that Howard Lutnick and Donald Trump were trying to force Europe into taking some of our food that's not even good here. I also did some research recently and found out that Mexico was basically bullied into taking GMO corn. They didn't want to take our GMO, genetically modified corn. And through the Canada might as well be China. No, I'm just kidding. But Canada, Mexico, American Trade Alliance, that they were basically somehow forced to take our GMO corn. And, of course, I want to make more money, but I don't want other countries to have to eat the food that I don't even want to eat. I want real corn. I want real food. I don't want, antibiotics pumped in the chickens. Like, I not only think, I know that Americans are suffering because of it. I've talked to a guy that did maintenance work with me recently, and he told me that he went to New Zealand, and in a month he came back and his heart problems were gone. He had, I guess, like maybe high blood pressure or something. And his doctor was like, how did it disappear? And he's like, well, I was in New Zealand eating their food, going to their doctors. They prescribed me more holistic medication. And just from being overseas for a month, his entire issues went away. That's how bad our food is. This is not a self-hating American take. This is I'm concerned about our people. Half the country's fat. And it's not just because we're bad people and we're just fat and we're lazy. That's not entirely true. Like, some people will be like, oh, people are just lazy nowadays. It's not just laziness. We're being poisoned with our food. So long story short, I'll play this clip. I'll move on because I've talked about this before. I don't think it's right for Howard Lutnick and Donald Trump to try to force Europe into taking our crappy food, because in my opinion, that's just poisoning Europeans. If you go to Europe for a month, you could eat like garbage and come home healthier because their food is not garbage. Even eating healthy here, you get fatter, even if you try to work out sometimes, because you're swimming against the current with all the poisonous food that they allow in America, which shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion, if you actually love your people. So here's that clip. Then we'll move on and get to maybe some more interesting stuff for some people. Why is President Trump trying to bully Europe into taking genetically modified food? It sounds too stupid and evil to be true, but that's exactly what he's doing. This is his recent post complaining about non-tariff cheating, in which one of them says, protective agricultural standards, example, no genetically engineered corn in the EU. And since on our side in the Republican Party, we don't have that many journalists, most people are just, I professionally lick dirt off Trump's shoes and say it's Willy Wonka's chocolate. People that seem only capable of making fun of the dumbest liberal they could find on TikTok, knowing that they'll lose Mar-a-Lago access if they ever do their job to provide a single ounce of value to the American people. Yeah, they're not covering this. But I showed you a few weeks ago too, the Trump administration's Howard Lutnick wants Europe to take our big, beautiful beef pumped up with all sorts of hormones that people in Europe and in America don't even want.
I mean, the European Union won't take chicken from America. They won't take lobsters from America. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
When Trump picked Bobby Kennedy, it was exciting to think that we were going to make America healthy again. That means organic crops, less pesticides or no pesticides, and improving our food quality. We didn't vote for the father of the vaccine, Donald Trump, to try to poison Europeans with the trash food we don't even want here. Everybody from all over the world notices, even though they love America, when they visit here, they gain weight rapidly, and when they go to other countries, they get healthier and lose weight. And not only is it evil what the Trump administration's doing, it's actually embarrassing. Biden is so evil and corrupt that so many people in America just hope the Republican Party is actually a lot better. In some ways, they are better, of course, but our side should be holding our side accountable. And the problem is most people don't want to do that. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Are Republicans, conservatives, and libertarians going to hold the Trump administration accountable? Or are we just going to get bounced back and forth between the parties for the next 40 years? While everybody plays as stupid as the boomers have played for the last 50 years. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. So I posted that again today on Facebook because I made that weeks or maybe perhaps over a month ago now. And when this news comes out that Trump is putting a 50% tariff on the EU, I think to myself, is he doing this for us? I mean, I hope so. I would like to think so. But with the evidence I have and just the research I've done, I'm like, maybe he's trying to bully them into taking our crops that we don't even want, the same way he bullied Mexico into taking the crops as well. And when I post stuff like this is where I'm going to get into why I'm getting bored of politics, and I'll give some other reasons. Not to be a hipster or a complainer about it, but it's just true. I feel like there's certain people, and I would say by certain people, I mean millions of people and tens of millions of people, where Donald Trump is the center of their political universe. Everything starts and stops at him. You know, some people hate him, some people love him. The left, they don't even think anymore. They're just like, I hate Republicans and they're racist and that's all I know. And it's annoying because not only do I disagree with them on almost everything, it's just a very ignorant way to live your life. And then on the right, you have people that are obsessed with Donald Trump. So I'll post a video like that, right? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I could have said it nicer. I was definitely a little condescending in that video, but people will say like, Anomaly, why don't you run for president? First of all, I just turned 35 like a couple months ago, and you can't run for president until you're 35. So on one hand, it hasn't been possible for me to run. So you shaming me as like a younger male at the time, it's like, why aren't you running for office? I do you not know the rules? You're not allowed to run when you're under 35. There hasn't been a presidential campaign that I could have even ran in. And then you go, hold on one second. I think somebody's knocking on my door. I'm going to play this video again, then I'm going to turn it off because I just got to make sure nobody's knocking. Hold on. Why is President Trump trying to bully Europe into taking genetically modified food? It sounds too stupid and evil to be true, but that's exactly what he's doing. This is his recent post complaining about non-tariff cheating, in which one of them said, it was Kash Patel. No, I'm just kidding. But nobody was knocking. I just kept hearing a noise. I was like, it's pissing me off. But anyway, it's Dan Bongino. He's at my door to say, stop making fun of me on your YouTube channel. No, I'm just kidding. But so it's like, not only can I not run for president, as I was talking about earlier, it's also one of these things where I feel like I'm providing value, right? I'm not just sitting here being like, Donald Trump bad, Biden good. Like, I'm doing journalism and news reporting. So it's like, do you not like that I'm pointing stuff out? I don't like, you think the only way for me to provide value in the political sphere is to literally run for office when I'm not even legally eligible at my age. And then you're going to shame me. Okay. Weird, but whatever. And then, some other comments, and people will tell me like, this one guy said, I'm trying to think. He was like, are you saying that and there's a reason I'm doing this, folks. I'm not just complaining and venting, but I'm just trying to explain to you, this is like every day if you get involved in politics. This is what not only I'm dealing with, but anybody deals with if you're trying to have political discussions on the internet with people, which I just don't like doing anymore. It's boring. He was like, are you suggesting that Donald Trump is the reason our food's bad in America? And it's like, no, like, this is the issue. And this is why I'm pointing it out. With people's whose entire political universe revolves around Donald Trump, it doesn't matter if Joe Biden's in office, Mitt Romney, Donald Trump, Thomas Massey, Ron Paul, Rand Paul, Mickey Mouse, Mortimer Mouse and Steamboat Willie, the original versions of Mickey Mouse. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just calling it how I see it. Like, the food that we're eating in America is not dependent on what Trump does or doesn't do, whether he's there or not. Like, it's just the truth of our food. Like, my entire universe of reality of understanding, it doesn't start and end with Donald Trump. So when I do reporting like that, if Biden was in office, everybody would say, yeah, Anomaly, you rock. But when Trump's in office, now they think I'm saying Trump made the food bad. Trump didn't make the food bad. In fact, he's done more in some ways to reverse it by hiring Bobby Kennedy. You can make the argument that Trump's on the path of helping more than ever now, which I would even agree with. Really, we'll see what Bobby does. But it's like, that's the problem with American politics. Like, I can't even point this out because Trump's involved in the equation at all. Now people, they're taking it personally, as if I took like their favorite stuffed animal, punched it, and then threw it off a bridge. Like, that's what Trump is. I call him, for the boomers, I call him Trumpy Wumpy, because he's like Tinky Winky to a baby. You watch a Teletubby. If you make fun of Trumpy Wumpy, the Republican boomers, they act like you're standing in front of the television, when Trumpy Wumpy, Doopsy, Lulu, and Pooh is on this, those are my made up Teletubby names. But it's like, okay, I don't get, like, you want to eat crap your whole life. Like, and then some guy, and this is kind of venting for me, but I also think it's kind of funny. This one guy goes to me and he comments on that video I just posted. He says, Anomaly, you're a girl. And then I look at his profile picture, and he looks like mashed potatoes. Like, if you ever put mashed potatoes in a Tupperware container, shake it around a little bit, put it in your refrigerator, take it out of the refrigerator, and it's like, all disformed against the side, and you got to scrape it off, put it, heat it up in the microwave. That's what he looks like. And what I want to say to this guy is, like, first of all, I mean, we all have our flaws, but I'm built like an athlete. Like, I'm very athletic. My body's in decent shape. You look like leftover mashed potatoes in a Tupperware container. And what I'm saying is not to bully you. You're calling me a girl, which I'm not, but I'm saying this to help you, because it's not your fault you look like leftover mashed potatoes that got slammed in a Tupperware container on the side of your refrigerator. It's not your fault you look like that. It's because the food you're eating in America is poison. especially if you're getting mad at this video and you don't even want to hear what I'm saying, you haven't even thought about this stuff. Like, I don't even buy that food, yet it's still hard to stay afloat in America because it's like, even if you get healthy food, it's not even really healthy 90% of the time. People who go to Europe, people who go to South America, they say that they just lose weight. They're like, I've been just eating nonstop and I'm losing weight because they're eating real food. Like, they don't, and RFK is working on this, but he's saying like, these companies, they feed poison to us and then they make better quality stuff for Europe. Like, what do these companies think of us if they're like, they think we're cattle? And maybe they're right if these people act like cattle, but it's like they're feeding us cattle fodder that's just poisoning us and we're eating it. And then they're like, you know what? Europe won't allow this. Let's make a better version for the Europeans so they can eat it. And then Trump's like, we want Europeans to eat like us. And it's like, no, we don't. And, I don't know. I know a lot of people are getting health conscious, but it's not even like, oh, I can go shop for good food. You basically have to start your own farm at this point, because even if you go to Whole Foods and stuff, a lot of the healthy food's not even really healthy. It's just the standard in America that's been allowed by the corporations, the politicians, and it's gross. I'm just trying to help our people. It has nothing to do with Trump or not Trump. It just so happens that Trump's in office, so he's the leader of the country right now. So I have to say it because him and Howard Lutnick are trying to force Europe to eat our trash. I don't want to poison Europeans. I don't want to poison anybody in the world, Mexicans, anybody. So it's like, not only do I not want to force them to take our food, I don't even want our food. I want RFK to fix it. With all that being said, on the note of the whole tariff thing, Trump always complains about a trade deficit, right? And let me preface this with, I think that the tariffs can and have done some good. I'm not saying they've done no good. I know for a fact it's forced some companies that were being a little greedy to come back to the United States and give some money back here. So I'm all for it in some cases. Like, I'm not saying it's all bad and tariffs are horrible. It's a mixed bag. With that being said, he keeps complaining about a trade deficit. This to me is like one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, I have a trade deficit to my supermarket. I have a trade deficit with Amazon, and I have a trade deficit with a lot of people that I buy from because I don't sell to them. The only people that I have a trade surplus with is people who buy from my Dream Rare shop that I don't buy from their shop. A deficit or a surplus in trade doesn't mean you're taking advantage of. Like, you need to sell and you need to buy. If you're buying goods from a country and they're not buying from you, you're still benefiting off the goods that you're buying. Like, every country doesn't have to have a surplus. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That would be like me saying, I'm not buying food from 7-Eleven until they buy my products, and we need to have an exact equal market. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So when he's out here saying stuff like that, he's saying we have a trade deficit. So we have plenty of trade surpluses with other countries, and then we have deficits to some. Like, we have to force Chile to eat our shitty beef in order to like make it fair. It doesn't make any sort of mathematic or like economic sense at all, in my opinion, to force every country to have a surplus or at least a equal trade balance. Like, that doesn't mean we're getting taken advantage of. And then I see what he's talking about and what he wants them to accept. Like, now it's a fair trade if you bully them into taking our shitty beef. So Europeans are poisoned, like all the sloppy potato salad looking people in America, because they're eating garbage. Like, literally half the country looks like potato salad on the side of a Tupperware container, and it's not our fault. I try to eat healthy. I work out all the time, and I'm swimming against the current because I live in the United States of America. If I went and lived in Italy for a year, I'd probably lose 10 pounds and like literally have no body fat. That's how bad our food is. I'm not blaming our people. I'm trying to unpoison our people. But people don't want to hear this because it's this game of political worship. It's like there's tens of millions of people in America. They don't think anymore. Their entire reality revolves around hero worship of Donald Trump. He's my savior. He's my hero. He must have a plan. I don't think. I'm going to look like potato salad. I'm going to eat garbage. I'm going to eat poison, and I'm going to try to poison the rest of the world because Donald Trump says so. It's like, okay, with the evidence that we're given, who's to say that? I'm not saying this is Donald Trump's plan, but let's just say the people running the show or whatever, who's to say their plan isn't to poison Europeans and then give them all the medicines Americans take? If you look at the rate of Americans taking pharmaceuticals, we take most of the world's pharmaceuticals. We're like factory farm cattle in this country. Everybody's fat. Everybody's on pills. The only show I watch is Jeopardy because it's mentally stimulating. And all the commercials are like ploplempic. It's like there's all these new pills. It's like ploporic, the bloric. It's like who's taking this crap? It's gagoric. Here's some blorbly. You just inject it into yourself 7 times. Talk to your doctor if you ever had a vaccine. You don't want to mix the medications. Blah, 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 blah. Side effects are your liver could fall out. Your kidneys could bleed. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, who's taking this stuff? It's not me. Someone is good. Have you considered Gagorgic today? Have you considered Blorbic today? It's like, what the hell is wrong with it? Yeah, let's give Glorbic, Blorbic, and a bunch of genetically modified antibiotic pumped garbage to Europe, and then they could take some Glorbic and Blorbic. Like, that could be the big plan. Poison Europeans, make them as fat as Americans, then export our big and beautiful pharmaceuticals, okay? If Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. I'm friends with the family. Oh, Johnson & Johnsons. There's lots of Johnsons out here. We'll give Europe a bunch of vaccines and Glorbic. It's like, oh, yeah, we're making America great again because Dad's sipping beer watching Sean Hannity again. It's like, I'm so tired of this vibe. No, we're not going to make our food good again. We're just going to give this trash to Europe. Cool. On that note, I mean, that's one side of why I'm bored of politics. You have the Trump worshipers versus the Trump hating witches that like literally are like casting spells on him because they can't stand the guy. And it's like, I'm just in the middle, and I do, once again, I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not justifying what the elites are doing to us because it's horrible. But it's like, you don't get to be a professional basketball player if you don't work out and you're just fat on the couch. Like, that's not how it works. So it's like, if you don't want to be treated like cattle, why do we always act like this? I've been saying this for years. It's like, it's hard to pretend like I don't see why they think you're cattle when you literally act like cattle. You're like, moo, moo. I like Trump. I hate Trump. Moo. It's like, and you expect them to not treat you like cattle. I feel bad for the people that are acting like humans and acting like they actually want to do something on this earth. These are the people I feel bad for, people that are stuck in a bad situation or that had no way out, like not people that have every blessing and every opportunity to call this stuff out and they choose not to. And then they get mad at journalists who actually point it out for them. It's like, okay. And with that being said, I think like the proper solution to politics, I probably said this for like 6 years now, is you have to, in my opinion, it's like either you vote or don't vote, right? That's the first step. If you don't like what Joe Biden's doing and you think Trump's doing a better job as a baseline, then you vote for Trump. If you literally don't care, you stay home. Like, that's like your prerogative and that's what you get to do. But on that note, it's like, if you do or don't vote, at the end of the day, right, Donald Trump wins. Some policies are going to change. Some judges are going to change. The immigration policies will change a bit. Like, things will change, right? To some extent. Maybe not as big as you'd hope, but they do change, right? But it's never going to be everything. But it doesn't mean you have to get mad at Donald Trump. But in my opinion, it's like you should push him to do the right thing. One of the worst things is like, yay, I voted. My job's done. Now I'm going to get mad at everybody who questions Donald Trump. At that point, you're just as useless as a Democrat. And it's the people doing that on the Republican side that will call you a Democrat when you call out Trump. You're like, I agree with Thomas Massie over Donald Trump. And they'll be like, I knew you were a Democrat. Democrats don't agree with Thomas Massie on almost anything. Like, Thomas Massie is a hardline right winger. He's more right wing than Donald Trump. I'm not saying you have to agree with Thomas Massie, but to call a Thomas Massie agreeer a Democrat is just low IQ. It's like, and this is why I don't even feel like interacting with people anymore. I'm not trying to be rude and condescending, but it's like talking to a caveman. Like, why would I spend my day talking to cavemen on social media who are like, the Thomas Massie Democrat? He's the most Republican. He does what Republicans pretend to do. He wants to lower the deficit, cut the spending, limit the government. That's everything that Trump and Republicans pretend to do. And then when they decided to implement the Communist Manifesto, and Massey's like, whoa, that's a little too far. A Democrat, bad. It's like, you're a caveman. Or you're acting like one. You remind me of those Geico commercials where it's like, so easy a caveman can do it. He's like, hey, come on, man. I'm trying to fit in with everyone else. We're like, oh, my bad, Geico caveman. I didn't mean to offend you. Maybe that's a hate crime now, but you get what I'm saying? It's like, where are we going with this? So, of course, I want to do my job, but The goal, until people are smart enough to realize that yes, you can vote and yes, it matters to some extent, but like then you have to keep paying attention and challenging your side in order to do stuff. If people can't figure this out, it just goes back and forth between the Democratic and Republican Party. And, my prediction, I hope Democrats don't win again, but my prediction is just based off what Trump's doing and how he's acting and the theatrics that he does and just kind of reading the room. I do think that in 4 years, there's not going to be that much change done. I think he's done some things great, and I think he has done something better than Biden. But, I think it's going to go right back to the Democratic side. And then the Republicans are going to be pissed off for 4 years, and then they're going to yell at whoever wins the Democratic election. And then it's going to be like, a Republican's going to come around and be like, I'm going to change it. And this is the game. I'm not asking people to not vote or to vote Democrat, but until you realize that's the game, we're just bouncing back and forth like a ping pong ball. And it's like, that's, when you understand the macro of politics, the micro doesn't really matter. I want to talk about this as well, because this is another angle of politics that I think is really getting draining. And I want to talk about a recent tragedy that happened and then talk about how people are acting, because, this is another, like, the Zionists versus the people that criticize Israel is a whole cycle that I don't want to be a part of anymore, because both sides act insane. And it's like, you just get dragged into stuff that you have no part of. And it's just like a loop on social media where you end up arguing with people that you never see and would never talk to. Like if you were at a party with 100 people, you wouldn't even like them anyway. So it's like, what's the point of sitting on Twitter and arguing with Zionists all day, or arguing with anti-Zionists all day, or whatever you want to call it? It's like, it's a loop that just doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to just point out some inconsistencies here and then move on, because, this has been a trend in the last couple of days because of what happened in America. So this is a story that happened recently. 2 Israel embassy staffers killed in a shooting near a Jewish museum in DC, which is horrible. I looked into the story a lot, and it's a wild story. And the guy was, I think, some Hispanic dude, and they said he had a manifesto, which I didn't read because I don't want to give people attention. Like, they want attention, and I don't like to give people that are evil attention just by doing something insane. So it's like there's a whole drama going on over this. And obviously political violence is horrible. It is counterproductive. It is evil. And I condemn it completely on any side ever. And here's what I want to say about it. Besides the fact that it's horrible, terrible, and, just not right. The consistency from Zionists is so inconsistent, where now they're trying to say that speech causes violence. They're trying to blame Candace Owens. They're trying to blame Theo Vaughn. They're trying to blame Dave Smith, and they're trying to say your words cause this violence, which, one, is not true. 2, is the route to censorship. They're doing it in Europe. Even Charlie Kirk came out and was like, listen, I'm as pro-Israel as it gets. I condemn the violence. Obviously, it's horrible, but he's like, you can't say that words cause violence, which I'm not going to say everyone's doing, because I'm not trying to group everyone in. But, I have friends in this space that I am still friends with, and I would never I'm not the type of person, because I disagree on foreign policy or domestic policy, like, I don't let that ruin my friendship. But I'm watching people that I used to respect and like just have horrible takes and say, Dave Smith has a part of this killing because he out debated a bunch of Zionists, and now it's his fault because of his rhetoric. And it's like, Candace, this is her fault. And it's like, you really want to go that route? And here's what I want to say. There have been tragedies the other way that the Zionists won't talk about. And, this goes on both sides. I think when there's a massive tragedy that goes in one person's favor, they talk about it more than if it goes in another person's favor of their bias or who they care about more. And this is not exclusive to people who are pro-Israel or live in Israel. Like, this is human nature, and this is just how everybody operates. But I want to point out 2 things that there was no politicians talked about, at least on the Republican side. There was no calls for censoring more speech. There was no blaming of other people. Let me just show this real quick. This kid was stabbed to death by a landlord. The kid was like, I don't even know how, 6 years old. And he just celebrated his birthday, and he was stabbed by a 53-year-old, literally for just being Palestinian and Muslim. This is what I'll just show you the landlord, because he's in prison and he's going to jail. That's the landlord. He looks insane. And he said, essentially, you as a Muslim must die. So it was literally, he was killed literally because of who he was, his race or his religion or whatever, by his landlord, who not only looks insane, and I'm not trying to say it's anyone else's fault, but like that guy looks like he watches too much like Zionist mainstream media. I'm not saying he does, but it's like, you could say that the media radicalized him. And I'm not saying it did, because it's not the media's fault and it's not speech's fault. But it's like what I'm trying to say is that it could go both ways. If you're going to say this happened and this is it, but the people that are pro-Israel, they don't even talk about that. Yet there's no calls to tone down the rhetoric. There's no calls to blame people who are, out there on the pro-Israel side. And there shouldn't be. Like someone that's pro-Israel doesn't make a psychopath like that kill a child. Like evil does that. It's that guy's own thing, and it's no one else to blame. But, you don't see Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. Like there was no massive outrage on the right. There was no ADL calls for censoring Hassan Piker, who I don't even like Hassan Piker, but now they're trying to use a tragedy to, censor somebody on social media, which I disagree with. And I don't watch Hassan like I don't care what he does, but I don't think he should be censored now because of a tragedy. Here's another one that happened that flew under the radar, and I talked about briefly just because I thought it was so insane. It was worth talking about. This was another one. A Jewish guy thought that 2 Israeli tourists were Palestinian and open fired on them. And then the Israelis that he shot said death to the Arabs on social media after the shooting, thinking it was an Arab person killing them. So these people were so neurotic or insane that the one guy shot essentially his own people, thinking it was Arabs, and then they thought Arabs shot them in America. I mean, that's insane. That's why I talked about the story. It's like, it's a nuts story. It would be like, 2 Palestinians shooting another Palestinian thinking it was an Israeli. Like, it's a nuts story. It's insane. Me personally, like, I don't care which way it goes. Evil is evil. I don't think anybody deserves to be killed. And I don't really want this in America. I don't want this in New Orleans. There's crime all over the place. Chicago, there's crime all over the place. Now we have these foreign war, standoffs in America because people are insane thinking they're in war and they're shooting their own side. Like, it's nuts. But nobody talked about that. And I want to point out something that Glenn Greenwald pointed out, which is totally true, because one of the IHRA anti-Semitism hate speech laws is something that Zionists are currently doing to the opposite side of the debate. And there's speech laws in America saying you can't do it for their side, but then they're going to do it to the other side. I'll just show you real quick. This is a Glenn Greenwald. He said, under the IHRA hate speech definition of anti-Semitism, which Trump is imposing on colleges, it says that you can't hold Jews responsible for acts of other Jews or, hold them responsible for Israel's acts, which makes sense. But it says, yet all day they're doing this to the Israel critics, which is true. It's all over my feed, including people I like. They're trying to say that every anti-Zionist or every person that's critical of Zionism or every reporter that has ever challenged Israel at all, they're responsible for these murders. Yet speech laws are being passed into America to give them a protected status to say that you can't do it. And while I don't think you should ever blame everybody for what somebody did, I don't believe in speech laws. I think these speech laws have been counterproductive. I think they're anti-American. They include biblical discussion around Jesus, which is anti-Christian. They include criticisms of Israel, saying that that's now anti-Semitism. So now it's basically making a foreign country a more protected class in America than the United States of America government. Like, it's easier to criticize Trump than it is Netanyahu now. And that's crazy because we live in America. It should be easy to criticize both. But if there would be one to be harder to criticize, like, it should be American politicians. Like, it's like, we live in America, have a little bit of grace when you criticize our politicians. But no, I can just say whatever I want about Donald Trump and there's no speech law against it. But if I say that, Netanyahu's government is killing too many children, now that's anti-Semitism. So, this is, it's all crazy. But my point is, like, both sides are ugly. Both sides are constantly just bashing each other and acting insane. And it's like, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I log into social media. I've barely made videos over the last month because I was on vacation, and I have people on Facebook like blaming me for something that happened and saying that I look like the Mexican guy. Like, it's like crazy stuff. And it's just like, both sides are very inconsistent. And I know the pro-Israel side, there's nothing you can really do unless you agree with everything they say. They're definitely acting like a protected class in the sense of, like, they're like, when a tragedy happens, we're going to blame everybody who's ever challenged us for the tragedy. But when a tragedy happens on our side, not only are we not going to talk about it, but if you talk about it, we're going to blame you. We have special speech laws. Like, I could literally sit here and say, this is just a hypothetical example. I could say, listen, I support everything Israel does. I'm pro-Israel. They're great. They're the greatest country in the world. But I think that they're just killing too many kids in war. And I would try to find a different strategy that doesn't kill so many women and children. Even that statement alone, they'll call you anti-Semitic. They'll call you anti-Israel. They'll call you, all sorts of names. They'll say you're part of the left and this and that. And it's like, I don't like what a lot of anti-Israel people say and do, because I don't like them. I don't care for them. Like, I think they're just annoying. But then it's like, on the Zionist side, I'm just being honest, like, most Zionists are becoming very extreme. Like, people that I know and like that have never acted this way their whole lives, now they're bugging out and saying that Dave Smith's responsible for this tragedy. Yet these people could never even debate Dave Smith. They would get smoked by Dave Smith in a debate, because Dave Smith is a Jewish American who's very intelligent and he's a good debater. Like, so it's like, I get the other side is being crazy, but I think this war has kind of brought out people's true character and true kind of feeling. And a lot of people care about Israel more than they care about America. A lot of people care about their ethnic group more than they care about everyone else. A lot of people want special privileges for themselves. And a lot of people want no conversations. They want to use an event to shut down a conversation and say, now that this happened, you're not allowed to question us, or else you're part of the tragedy. So what about the tens of thousands of civilians that are killed in war? Like, no, you can't disagree with that. If I say I disagree with how many people died in Ukraine and Russia, does that make me pro-Russia? These same games that we always make fun of the left for doing, they're being played on the right now, and it's just ugly. And I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I'm not going to cower and back down and just stop doing what I'm doing because someone else feels a certain way. I just don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like arguing with brainwashed caveman boomers on Facebook every day, because their entire universe of political understanding is Donald Trump, and they take something personally because Trump's the president and I say something while he's in office. And I also don't want to be in this ugly game of like Zionist versus anti-Zionist, because it's just ugly. It's like everybody's acting crazy. Everybody's so biased. And, it's like, yeah, a tragedy is horrific and horrible, but there's plenty of tragedies on the other side that not only do these people never talk about, but they don't even allow you to talk about. Like, I can't talk about, if I talk about both sides, I'm going to get attacked more by people that like Israel most of the time, because anybody that isn't 100% lockstep with Netanyahu on every issue, they just call anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. So it's like, it's a crazy game that's being played. And I would say the censorship, at least in America, is on one side. Like, I don't want to live in a country like the UK where you can't criticize Muslim immigration, where you can't criticize Middle Eastern immigration. Like, I don't agree with any hate speech law. It has nothing to do with the bias. Like, if there's a bunch of immigrants in America, I don't care if they're white or black, or it doesn't matter. I mean, I do have opinions about immigration and demographics to some extent, but what I'm trying to say is, like, for speech laws, I believe in the First Amendment, and I believe that Americans should be allowed to question Icelandic immigration or African immigration or Indian immigration or Muslim immigration. That's what I believe about the First Amendment. So I don't want to live in the UK where you can't criticize the Muslim immigration or the Islamic immigration. But I also don't want to live in a country where you can't criticize Israel, or like everything's anti-Semitic. So in America, we're not like Europe where you can't criticize Islam. At least, like, now I don't see it on social media, maybe that to some extent. And if it is, I don't believe in it. But it's like, all I see is the Republicans passing anti-Semitism hate speech laws, the ADL calling for shutting down podcasters now because of the tragedy. It's like, when tens of thousands of people die in another country over a war, or people even get killed and like the little boy got stabbed in America, I don't see calls for censorship from the other side. And if it comes across my feed, I disagree with it. But I just feel like it's an ugly topic to talk about. But in my view, as somebody that doesn't fully agree with either side, the Zionists act more crazy. Like, they're the ones trying to speech censor. They're the ones trying to shut down protests. They're the ones trying to bully schools into accepting, anti-American hate speech laws. And then it puts me in a weird situation, because I don't care about Harvard. It's like, Harvard sucks. They've brainwashed multiple generations of Americans. They've pushed, in my opinion, Marxist propaganda that has destroyed the family. Like, now you're putting me in a Zionist versus Bolshevik discussion where it's like, do you agree with the Bolsheviks or the Zionists? And neither, but I'm not going to sit and like defend Harvard. I'm just going to tell the truth. Like, Trump's trying to force them to adopt the IHRA, anti-Semitism hate speech laws. He's not telling them you're so bad because of what you did with the Marxists and the family. Like, he's using anti-Semitism as the end to try to crush them. And this is what American politics is. I've said this for 4 years now. It's not Republicans saving America versus the left. It's Bolsheviks versus Zionists. And to me, maybe this is considered hate speech, but I think Bolsheviks and Zionists are going in the same direction, because I don't think either one of them has America as their number one priority. And I think that the root of both of them, no offense, it just kind of leads to the same place. I'm not saying that the left and the right are exactly similar. I'm not saying that left-wing, people that are critical of Israel and right-wing people that are pro-Israel are the same. It's not what I'm saying. They have different beliefs, they have different opinions, but it's like Mitt Romney versus John McCain to me, or John McCain versus Obama to me. Like, yeah, they're kind of different and they have different, speeches and ideologies, but I believe they're both leading to the same direction. And that's what I believe Zionism and Bolshevikism is. And this has been the discussion in America for 4 years. Most people just don't realize it because they don't understand what they are and what they're doing. And the more I understand, the more I get called hateful. Like, I've done my research to see what certain people think and what certain people's ideologies are and what plans they have for the world, etc. And it's like, it doesn't include my interests, as an American citizen. If you're pushing speech laws on me, that's not in my interest. If you're pushing foreign wars for another country, that's not for me. So it's an ugly circular discussion that I don't feel like arguing with people. I'm in the same position on this that I was in 2020. Like, you could find tweets in 2019 that were 6 years ahead of schedule, and now everybody's arguing. It's just ugly. Like, I don't want to argue with Republicans. They're calling me a Democrat because I like Thomas Massey more than Donald Trump. Zionists are mad every second at everybody that doesn't just worship Israel, and they're blaming people for, like, it's just politics is ugly. And I just, I don't know what the solution is, but I don't get the joy or the satisfaction of just like being in the discussion. Why do I want to be knee deep in the discussion every day so I could get blamed like Dave Smith gets blamed? Like, what's the point? I don't care. Like, it's not that I don't care, but it's like, it's not fulfilling for me anymore. I find it very stressful. I find it very negative. The whole reason I got into politics is, one, I knew they were lying. And two, I knew I could do a better job of it. And I did that. I did everything I thought I could do. I got over 1 billion views. I have millions of followers. I get millions of impressions every day. Like, I've already reached the pinnacle of independent success. Now it's like, do I want to do this? For what? Like, do I feel like I'm changing the world or the culture enough to justify the stress that it causes? It's getting to the point where it's debatable, because it's like, if I'm in discussions all month and then a tragedy happens one side or the other, it's only a matter of time until, things ramp up and people start blaming. It's so ugly. And then all it takes, and I'm not saying that, well, I'll go on this note because it's maybe an easier in. When Trump had the assassination attempt, a lot of people were skeptical of it. Like, diehard Trump supporters were like, they just tried to kill my favorite president. And I thought it was real too. Other people, like the leftists, were saying, oh, it's fake because they don't like Donald Trump. And then you have people that are right-leaning that just didn't believe it because it was like a little weird. And then you had a bunch of Trump supporters say, how dare you not believe this assassination attempt, and you're pushing conspiracy theories. It's like, this just shows you how a bias could shift the narrative. If the same exact thing, the same exact evidence, the same exact everything happened to Joe Biden on stage, every single Trump supporter would think it was staged in order to help Joe Biden win a presidency. But when it happens to Donald Trump, now you're a conspiracy theorist when you think an event's staged, even though Trump supporters think a lot of events are staged because they know that they are to some extent. So it's like, you're playing a game where 99% of people have no integrity, and they're willing to just do whatever makes sense to their little hero WWE story. And that's what I think a lot of this is. I'm not saying the assassination was staged, because I don't know that it was, but it's like, on one hand, a lot of people hate Donald Trump. On one hand, the Secret Service was completely incompetent. So now you have the question, without saying it was staged, it's like, was it a setup? Were they trying to kill Donald Trump? Did the Secret Service purposely step down? Are they just really dumb because of feminism, and they have a bunch of like incompetent women running the show because of DEI? There's all these things it could be, and I don't know which one it is. I'm just saying I'm weighing out the options. It's like, at bare minimum, Secret Service didn't do their job. At maximum, somebody tried to kill Donald Trump. But also, when someone says they think it was staged, but I'm not like, I don't know. I have no idea. It could have been, but I don't know that it was. I don't have enough evidence to say it was, but I don't really know what went on. And then you go to the second shooter, and the second shooter was he worked in Ukraine. He was trying to recruit former Taliban members. You don't get to Ukraine without the US government knowing who you are, and you don't get to recruit former Taliban members unless you're working with governments, in my opinion. I mean, they're just going to let some random guy recruit Taliban members or former, like, this guy had to have connections to government. I'm not saying the government was in on it. He could have been rogue, but it's like after he allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump, the media said it was Iran who did it, even though the guy worked in Ukraine without and then Trump said, oh, if I die, then it was Iran who did it. So it's like, none of it makes any sense, even if you're following the narrative completely. When Trump said that, I was like, I don't believe that's even true. But it's like you're stuck in this dumb cycle where like nobody is allowed to question anything. If something happens to Palestinian kids and a bunch of them get blown up or allegedly blown up, you'll have Zionists say, oh, they're just acting. It's Pallywood. They're just Palestinian actors. They use that kid all the time. And then the people who are critical of Zionism, they post every single picture and video they find. A lot of them are real and they really are killing women and children, but some of them are fake. And sometimes they get caught having to eat crow essentially because they're posting fake videos that they got tricked on. And it's like, then when a tragedy happens here, it's like you're not allowed to say it's not real or else you're horrible. But then if it happens on the other side, they're going to say it's not real. And the people who support it are going to say it's not. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like I'm living in a world where everybody's just ridiculous all the time. And I'm not saying that this wasn't real, because I think there are psychopaths out there, but now it's being used for an agenda of censorship. And also, what's to stop a government from just at one point in time on any side of the equation, just planting a manifesto that just has the names of every podcaster that they hate to then try to censor these podcasters? Like, I believe at one point that will happen. And I'm not saying it's going to happen on this side or that side or for this or that. It could be, any sort of event for any sort of tragedy at any sort of moment to push any sort of political agenda. But if you're not allowed to question if something's fake or not, that's what makes me nervous personally, is I think at some point somebody, a government, somebody high up can just plant a manifesto and say, and just name off every single person they want to silence. And a week ago, it doesn't make sense to silence a podcaster, but now, because of this, now they have an in and the politicians will bite on it. So, I'm not saying that has happened before, but as somebody in the public space, like, I'm not as big as Candace Owens right now. I'm not as, in some ways I'm bigger than Tim Pool. Like, if you look at his Instagram page, nobody cares about him. His Facebook page is smaller than mine, but on YouTube, his show's much bigger than mine. He's got a way bigger podcast than I do on this social media. And it's like, he's so in the cut of the conversation. And so is Dave Smith and Candace Owens. It's like, they're just one thing away, whether it's real or not, of being screwed and their whole life falling down on them and the media going crazy on them. It's really creepy. And for those who want to say that that's not possible, all you have to do is read. And I'm going to have a video tomorrow with G. Edward Griffin. I interviewed him yesterday. I'm going to put it out tomorrow. He's 93 years old right now and just sharp as a tack. But, I asked him about it, and I mentioned that the JFK files from the first Trump administration showed that the CIA, or the American government, was going to do a false flag to turn the public against Cuba. And in those JFK files, they said, we should sink a boatload of Cubans, either real or imagined, which means that it's proven that the government will either kill a bunch of innocent people in order to push a narrative, or fake do it in order to push a narrative, real or simulated, I think they said, not imagined. That's really creepy. You know what I'm saying? So if they can do that, and they did do that, or they tried to do that, what's to stop them from doing it now? Nothing, because you're not allowed to say anything about this stuff. It's like, they know. And G. Edward Griffin, I'm not as well versed on this stuff, and maybe I should be, but he said, World War I and World War II are the same ways where they use some sort of event like that in order to cast America into the war. I'm not, once again, listen to the interview tomorrow. He'll explain it from his view. But for me, it's not surprising, because if America doesn't want to join a war, and you want America to go to war, and you run America, and you're the politicians, you're connected to the bankers, you're connected to the big money, you're connected to the foreign leaders, etc., all it takes is one tragedy in order to force somebody into war. It's happened literally almost in every war we've ever gotten. America is like, that war doesn't make sense to me. Let's just stay out of it and let them fight. We don't want to join that side or that side. We don't like either of them, or we don't care for them. Then one massive tragedy happens. We get attacked on Pearl Harbor. And what G. Edward was telling me was that we were trying to coax them into attacking us for months or years because we knew that that would be a catalyst into a bigger war. That's what he said. I need to look into it more. And then now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we got to retaliate on them. Now we're in the war. They know that this is the golden method. You go to Caroline Leavitt. Caroline Leavitt admits the Iraq war was based on a lie. But when we were going into the Iraq war, it was not Caroline Leavitt because she's so young, but Republicans like her that wouldn't allow you to question if it would, like, if you question the war in Iraq and you question the stories around Saddam Hussein or incubated babies or whatever those stories were to, pull on the heartstrings to push us into war, you were considered a terrorist. You were considered Al-Qaeda. Like, they would just throw every label. Oh, what are you supporting? Al-Qaeda? It's us versus Al-Qaeda. It's us versus Saddam Hussein. Are you a terrorist? Are you this? Are you a Taliban member? And it's the same thing they're doing today. It's the same strategy. And the same people that now say the Iraq war was a lie, they're doing the same things that the neocons did during the Iraq war because it's an effective strategy. It's a strategy that has an 100% success rate. They've never failed. They've never been denied. If the elite, and this is where I wonder what the point of me even doing a show is, right? Of course, there's like, it's my business now. It's my career. I do enjoy it. It's very fulfilling. I feel like I've helped a lot of people, and I'm not downplaying what I've done. But at the same time, it's like, I really do believe that even if you get public support on the right side of an equation, it just takes one event for them to do it anyway. So it's like, what, you're working against people that have no boundaries. They have there's nowhere they won't go in order to get what they want. And they're the ones that have connections to the banks. And they're the ones that have connections to foreign kings and leaders and the Vatican and all the, every powerful group in the world. So it's like, even if you win the perception battle, they're just one false flag away or one event that they help force away to, get what they want anyway. And then you're just going to be sitting there talking about it. So I'm not trying to demoralize people, but I'm just wondering in my head, it's like, I'm realistic. I'm not egotistical. Like, I have the power. It's like, do I really, people get mad at me for the dumbest things. I'm like, dude, I don't even run like a top 10 podcast. Yeah, I'm pretty big on social media, but if you look at my videos, like, I'm extremely calm. I'm not extreme. I would say I take people's stress down. I'm always telling people to relax. I'm always telling people that, the answer is peaceful and nonviolent because I believe it is. And I believe that anytime you do something crazy, not only is it evil, not only have you just thrown your life away and I believe you're going to hell, but also, I mean, I'm not God, so I'm not trying to like act like I know where people are going, but it's just like, I think it's evil. I think it's wicked. I also think it's counterproductive because I think it gives fuel to the other side of the narrative, and then you actually lose ground. So it's like on every level of everything, it's horrible. And then there's a lot of extreme people on all sides, and that's not me, but it's like, I don't believe in acting that way as a person or in politics, but it's like just being myself is a threat to dishonest people because they want the lie to win. They want their ideology to win. And I know a lot. And the more I know, the less I really want to say, because it's like, it's just going in a loop. But I'm not trying to be pessimistic or demoralizing about it, but I'm just self-aware where it's like, I've done a lot. I believe I could still do a lot, but to what extent? And if you're going to do it every day, this is my main message I want to tell people, because I'm sure you watch other people too. Don't stress out about this stuff. If you like, I've used examples of Tom and Jerry, how that's politics. The cat chases the mouse, but he never gets there, because if he gets there, the show ends, and they don't want the show to end because the show is what keeps you entertained and involved in a story that's not real. So it never happens. Or, Lucy with the football. You're so excited, you're disappointed. You're so excited, you're disappointed. You're so excited, you're disappointed. Ow, ow. That's politics. Trump, Biden, it's all, in my opinion, that. I'm not saying to not vote or to not like certain people, but when you think you're watching a Marvel movie or the New York Knicks versus the Pacers, and that, like, you're a Knicks fan, you end up just losing every single time. So, don't stress out about this stuff. Even if you're involved and passionate about it, don't let it stress you out, because then it negatively affects your health. And at the end of the day, it's like, you might think you're doing something and you might be doing something, but there's liberal activists that I believe are wrong about almost everything, and they're activists for 30 years of their lives. And it's like, what did they actually do? You got people that don't take care of themselves, that are stressed out, that hate Donald Trump, and somehow they hate him for all the wrong reasons. It's like there's 10 reasons to not like Donald Trump, and somehow some activists don't find those 10 reasons, and they're mad at him for all the good things he's doing. So it's like, being self-aware is so important, and not stressing out, because like stressing out and being angry and mad doesn't mean you're more right. In fact, when you're more angry, you're more likely to get tricked. Like when you're more emotional, oh, this tragedy happened, now we have to start a war. That's what they want to do in order to get you to support something against your own interests. And then you fast forward 10 years, trillions of dollars spent, hundreds of thousands of people dead. That's because you fell for it. And I'm not saying it's your responsibility, but it's like being angry and emotional is how you get tricked all the time. And when I look, there's a lot of great people on my Facebook and Twitter and everything, but at the same time, I'm just like, I want to live in the real world. I spent enough time on social media. It's like, do I want to argue with 65-year-olds? If you're 65 and you're still acting like Donald Trump's the center of your universe, I'm not going to convince you. I'm not going to be the one to break your mind. And now you like Thomas Matt. Like, I don't care what you think, but it's like the ignoramuses are always the loudest. They're always the rudest. They're always the most like, attacking and defensive in some ways. And it's like, and then on Twitter, it's like a psycho loop of like, you have, hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or thousands of Zionists that are obsessed with Israel, that are very, that have a standard of what they want. But then if you do it, they have double standards. And then you have people on the critical of Israel side, and a lot of them act crazy too. And a lot of them act weird. And it's like, these people are just fighting on Twitter all day. And it's like, why do I want to be a part of this? These are all people that, regardless of their politics, I probably wouldn't want to hang out with. And if I did hang out with them, I probably wouldn't want to talk about politics, because I don't like their energy. I don't like their style. I don't like how they do it. And it's like, when you're in it, you feel like it's your world. Like when I'm on Twitter all the time, I barely post the last month. When I post a lot on Twitter, it becomes my world. I start talking about it to my friends who don't care about it. Like, we're like walking and I'm talking about Twitter. Like, it makes you kind of a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like social media. I'm grateful for it. It's literally provided my entire career. It's the reason I've gotten out to the world. And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but it's like, at the same time, when I spend too much time on it and I'm not direct in what I'm doing, and I don't make videos and I'm just like talking to people and arguing with them, it becomes my whole reality. Like, I'm in this world, but I'm thinking about this world for hours, and it's bothering me. What this guy said on Facebook that I'll never see, that's 65, like, and then it's like, you don't have people that that are older or younger that you disagree with. I'm not going to give this person attention because I think they want it from me too much. But it's like, I had someone recently being like, why is an anomaly saying something about what this person said? It's like, you think I have the ability to control what every single person says? I have people older than me in my family that don't agree with me on everything. I have people in my family younger than me that don't agree with me on everything. So it's like, this idea that I'm able to control somebody in their 60s or 50s that has their own opinions, that could be like my grandma or grandparent, but I can't even control my own family, what my family thinks. You think I have the ability to just change the entire worldview of somebody that's thought this way their entire life? Like, I don't have the power to do that. So then what are my options? My options are to just argue with somebody that I know will never agree with me, that'll never listen to a single point that I say, and literally just won't hear it. Or I could talk in general like I do, and then, the people that want to hear it do, and the people that don't want to hear it don't. But it's like, I'm not going to, like, this idea that I'm able to control these things. And then when you talk about politics every single day, like I used to, you feel like you have to talk about it about everything. Let's just say I talk about something for 4 or 5 days straight, and then a tragedy happens. And then people are like, Anomaly, where are you? I thought you were going to, it's like, now you're relying on these podcasters. You're like, well, Dave Smith talked about this, but I didn't see him tweet about this all day. I get it, but now Dave Smith has to sit at his computer and just talk about everything all the time, or else he's a shit. It's like, dude, that's not a life I want to live. That sounds horrible to me, and people do that to me. It's like, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Why do I have to talk about everything? In fact, like, if you look at what I used to do, I just focus on things that I think are important and try to do really great news segments on it. Like, you'll see I've done a lot of great reports this year. I got a camera. I've been editing like my shorter form videos. I'm going back to that because I know that's the best thing I could do, and that's what I like doing. I'm not not news at 10 where I have to talk about every tragedy, every murder in Chicago and New Orleans. Like, I hate that stuff. I hate negative news. I never wanted to get into negative news. I got into politics, but it's like now the burden of like, I have to talk about all this stuff. And it's not just me, for you guys to relate. It's like when you're looking at all this stuff, now you're wearing the burden of seeing all this stuff all the time, where it's like, I used to hate the news growing up because I'm like, the news is all the negative news. Like, yeah, I understand why, parents would want to watch it to see the crime in the neighborhood. And it's like, this person killed this person. It's scary and you want to know about it. But as a kid, I never wanted to know about it because I'm like, I don't see that in my reality. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. Like, am I going to focus on the 2 murders in a city of 5 million people or a million people? Or am I going to go enjoy the city where 99.9% of the time murders aren't happening? Like, it's a mindset choice. And as you get older, you become more aware and less ignorant. But it's like, to what extent? It's like when you're a child, like a young child, it's like you're ignorant, but it makes you happy and you're playing and you're running around. And the older you get, it's like the more you know, and then the more miserable a lot of people become because they're not excited. Like as a kid, you're just like excited to be around. Like you're in a mall running in circles, playing games in a mall. Like you're inventing games in your head because you're not burdened by the weight of the world. You're not negative. You don't know anything. You're just like, oh, la, 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 and you have someone to protect you, your parents. But in general, it's like the older you get, the more you know, the more miserable you become. It's like, I don't want to be a miserable person. So I'm trying to balance out this whole stuff, but I've come to the conclusion that it's like, I get the big picture. I've known it for 5 years now, and everything else is just these little macro arguments where people see an event, lash out for 3 days, go here, lash out for 3 days. Like, how do you break the cycle, consumer or creator, of this madness? Because it's like, even if you're just consuming it, it's not like being aware of everything doesn't necessarily mean you're right. Some people spend 7 hours a day researching politics, and they're the dumbest people you ever meet. Because wisdom comes from lowering your ego and being able to intake new information and understanding and having good discernment. A lot of people have massive egos on the left and the right, where it's like, I hate Donald Trump. I'm right about everything. I don't understand. Like, there's people that I love and respect that are more left leaning, and they post this stuff about Trump and immigration. And I'm like, I disagree. Like, I like you. I'm not going to let it ruin our friendship if we even have one. But I don't agree with you. But I feel like I'd be able to sit down and talk rationally about it, and they would probably freak out and just say the word racist a bunch of times. And it's like, so do I want to have that conversation? Not really. Like, I will for the sake of the world to watch and I guess like learn from, but it's like, I'm not really like a confrontational person. I don't see if I'm at a bar or I'm at a club or something, like I'm single right now, but like, I'll just give an example. I was in Florida for a few days. I had this lovely lady walk up to me and start talking to me. That's what I want to do when I'm single at a bar. Have a beautiful woman talk to me, not argue with some dude. I like Joe Biden. I like Trump. Cool, bro. That's not why I go out to have fun. I don't go out to like argue with people. So that's how I live my life. It's like when I'm online, yeah, I'll have a conversation, but I'm not really trying to argue because like I don't want to argue. That's not fun. Fun is like talking to people I actually like. All right, I'm gonna read some comments right now. That's my little rant on that. I think it was pretty long-winded, and I wouldn't say I blacked out, but I blacked out the chat so I couldn't see it. I'll read a few comments, some super chats if they come in on YouTube. If you saw one earlier, sorry I didn't see it. But yeah, let's see. Someone said big beautiful women. Big, I like the big ones, the big beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't say big, but personally, no disrespect, but I'm more into like fitness. If someone takes care of themselves, that's more attractive to me than the big ones. The big, beautiful ones. I like them big as an ox. No, I'm just kidding. Big as an Oxford. Oxford needs to cut out with the anti-Semitism. I just thought of that when I said ox. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, someone said I'm going to eat kraut dogs with mustard today. That's very American of you. I did a fast over the last I tried to go 48 hours, but I wimped out and I ate chicken at like 29 hours. Anomaly, thoughts on Trump's Golden Dome? That's a good question. I have to look into what it actually is. So I have my opinions of like what I think it might be, and then I could say, but I feel like I should probably research what it actually is before I have an opinion. Off first glance, I'm not really like I don't hate it, but I don't know what it is. Like what type of dome are we talking about? Is it like missiles? Is it like self-defense? I gotta get more into it. I'll talk about it next time. I'll research it. Thank you for all you do, bro, said Danielle. It's nice to have a place to go to listen to like-minded people talk. Thank you. One thing that I am grateful for, and I would say proud of, I don't want to be too prideful because it's a sin, but I feel like I try to calm people down, and I feel like I try to calm myself down. So there's a lot of new, like sometimes I'll read a Charlie Kirk tweet and he'll be like, your blood should be boiling right now. Like, what, you want people's blood to boil? Why can't you say, this needs to catch your attention right now? Stay calm, because there's always going to be crazy things, but we need to like handle this right now. Like, to tell people their blood should be boiling, in my opinion, is evil. It's like, your blood pressure should go up right now because I'm Charlie Kirk. It's like, shut up, Charlie Kirk. Like, you say a lot of, I like that he's, not calling for censorship now, but I find him a very disingenuous shill. And I don't think Charlie Kirk would be, I think if Charlie Kirk wasn't taking so much donor money from certain people, he would be an entirely different person. But he's still a more tolerable person than other people. Like, he's the middle ground, but he's like playing both sides. But I think he does less than he knows because of the money he's taking. But that's fine. But it's like, your blood should be boiling. Shut up, Charlie. Your blood shouldn't be boiling. You shouldn't. He wants you to be like emotional and angry, so then you just feed into his like economy. It's like, if you're angry all the time, then you'll listen to people like me that are yelling all the time. It's like, yeah, and then you'll be wrong 50% of the time, because Charlie's sometimes very honest and sometimes very shilly. So it's like, most people who watch the media, they only know what they're being told. Like, they think Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk are experts, and I never dislike Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro, but they weren't my into politics. Some people, they're like, Ben Shapiro made me a conservative, Charlie Kirk made me a conservative. That wasn't my personal story. Like, I never knew who Ben Shapiro was. I never cared about Charlie Kirk that much. So they didn't like play a role in my awakening at all. But to some people, they're loyal to them because they brought them to the right, and now they're trapping them in this weird mindset. But that's just my opinion. Charlie does do some good things as well. But it's whatever. Anomaly, when are we going back to the moon? Hold on, let me check my moon watch. We're going back to the moon in 2059, and it's going to be Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos' wife, Katy Perry, and Oprah this time. They subbed out Gayle King for Oprah. And they're going to go to the moon, and then they're going to go to Pluto, allegedly, and then they're going to wear really cool spacesuits that are sleek and slick, and then they're going to win an award for the best dressed astronaut of the year. And then allegedly in the future, possibly, maybe, probably not. Someone said Trump gave Stormy his big, beautiful golden dome. Listen, Brett, that's really disgusting. That's really gross. Okay. Let's not talk about Stormy and my big, beautiful dome. It's really gay. It's really gay of you to talk about my dome, okay? But if I do, it is big and beautiful, and my big hands, and I do have a golden penis. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's gross. Anyway. Someone said giving your digestive system a break is great for your health. I would hope so. Anomaly, you going to address Trump's meeting with South Africa? I didn't. I mean, maybe next week, but I could do it now. I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting and funny, but it's like, what? I never know Trump's real motives. I thought it was funny. I think, I don't know if I'd call it a full-blown genocide, but I think what they're doing is wrong. But I'd have to do it in a bigger video, because I have like a lot of different angles on it. And, a lot of people pointed out that Trump is ignoring one genocide and talking about another. And I'm careful to use the word genocide, because I think it's overused. Like, everyone's saying everyone's genociding everybody. But, I do think a genocide is happening in one country. For a while I didn't, but it's like, the more you read and the more they're saying, let's just wipe everybody out, every baby. It's like, that is a genocide. So I think the biggest genocide in the world, Trump is supporting and not talking about. So, I don't mind that he mentions it for the white people in South Africa, but I don't, and it is like showing that the Overton window is moving, because like 7 years ago, that was like a conspiracy theory and nobody would say it. And now the Republican presidents say it. So I have mixed feelings on it. Like, on one hand, I'm not mad at it. On another hand, I don't think Trump is really genuine. And I think like a lot of people feel like there's so many problems in America, and I don't know if this directly relates to this, but I have unpopular opinions about America. Like and maybe I'm an overachiever because, nothing's perfect, but I think every city in America is starting to suck. And I think there needs to be a real conversation about why, and the crime rates and the trash. Like, I think a city, people should take care of it like Tokyo. And maybe Americans aren't like Japanese people where they take care of stuff, but I'm embarrassed that American cities are so trashed and the crime's everywhere and there's trash everywhere. Like I'm more interested in that than South Africa personally. And I think our country is slowly going to turn into South Africa just based on demographics and how math works. So I don't like that's the thing with the GOP is like they'll talk about South Africa for political reasons because there's some sort of thing that South Africa is not doing that Trump and they probably want. But then when it comes to America, Trump will call somebody like racist, or I don't know if we'll call him racist, but like Trump's like doesn't care about that stuff in America. So it's like it doesn't, South Africa, while I feel for the farmers, it doesn't affect me as much as American cities that all suck now. And you have the newspapers in America like bragging about demographic shift. They're like, you're going to be a minority. You're going to be this soon. And it's like, you're allowed to say that that's better. But if I say that I don't think it's better, then that's racist. But it's okay for you to take the other side of the equation. And all I ask for is a fair table. Everyone should be allowed to say that anything is better or worse. One side is not like you can't fake moral high ground. Like I think this 100% white neighborhood should be 100% Indian. Okay, you can believe that, but what if someone else came and said, I don't want it to be that way, I want it to be this way? Like, how are you're moral just because you say you are? No, the truth is righteous, not the fake moral high ground. So, everyone has an opinion and everyone has a right to feel a certain way about certain things, but I'm tired of the word racist being used. Like, for example, I think in South Africa, although I don't agree, I think the black people there should be able to say, I think Africa would be better if it was all black people. I don't agree. I'm not hating on white South Africans. And I do think the call for violence is a step too far, 1,000%. Like anybody calling for violence, in my opinion, is evil. But this is how I think. Like, people like Elon Musk will say, oh, that's racist. That's racist. That's racist. And then they'll sit in America and say, I don't care about race. It's like, you say that, but what neighborhood do you live in? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you live in Queen, like the heart of Queens where it's like 80-90% black? Would you want to live there? Maybe you would. Maybe you don't. Like, I don't. And that's not every black neighborhood. I'm just saying, like, I look at it different than Trump and Elon in the sense of like they're very basic with it, where it's like, that's bad because I said so. That genocide's bad, but we're going to fund another one and not talk about it and then say that it's hate speech to say that it's a genocide. And then, and then in America, like we don't care about demographics, even though it's trending in a certain direction that's going to have consequences that everybody knows, but nobody's allowed to say. You understand what I'm saying? It's like the Trump, the conversations around Trump are always very basic. The Overton window, it does show that the Overton window is moving towards like less political correctness, which is good. But it's like Elon and Trump are like 5 years behind, in my opinion, on these topics. And it shows when Elon and Trump talk about H-1B visas, all of a sudden they sound like Democrats. And you could find videos of Bernie Sanders in 2013, who has a more right-wing stance on H-1B visas than Trump and Elon. So it's like, and Vivek, Farmaswamy. So it's all very like when you're 5 years ahead of schedule, it's all very basic. But yeah, I think that people should be allowed to have conversations about race. I know most people don't agree with me, but South Africa, they should not call for the murder of white people. That's evil. But I do believe that even though I disagree with them, I believe that their leaders should be able to say, are there like, is this what we want, or is this the direction that we go? And I'm just giving an example. Let's just say they came to the conclusion they didn't want the white people there. The white people have every right to disagree. They have every right to be like, this is my land. I was born here. I've been here for hundreds of years. It's my land. I'm not saying they don't have a right to defend themselves or disagree, but it's like, I do, like everyone's acting like race doesn't matter. And this is a new phenomenon that has never happened in human history. On a micro level, I don't think that race matters. Like I treat everybody, there's certain white people I can't stand. There's certain white people I like. There's certain Asians that I really like. There's certain Asians that I disagree with. You understand what I'm saying? On a micro level, I treat people by the content of their character. I treat people by who they are, their soul, their spirit. And I don't have a racist bone in my body. I want to hang out with the best people of every ethnic group, right? On a macro level, I do believe that race matters. Like China wouldn't be the same if you imported half Mexicans and half Africans and then switched out the Chinese people. Is it going to be China? It's not. It's not. China has a certain country, a certain culture, and a certain ethnic group. Like this idea that race doesn't matter is a brand new phenomenon. And everyone's like, the world's gone to shit in the last 30 years. Well, the last 2,000 years, everybody understood that there's a difference between Chinese and Japanese. There's a difference between European and here. And it doesn't mean you're better or worse. It's just the reality of like preserving your heritage or believing in something. Like if you're Italian and you love Italian music and you like Italian food, you have the option to marry an Italian woman if you want. And if you don't want to, maybe you go to Japan and marry a Japanese person. Like it's up to you. You have free will. But you can't call someone racist that wants to marry an Italian woman. Like that's their prerogative. And it's not necessarily worse. Like it could be, but it could be better. The whole My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie was about that. The parents wanted her to marry someone Greek. It's like their parents aren't racist. They just want somebody that fits into their culture better. Like it makes sense, but you know, it could work both ways. With that being said, we're living in a world where now we're being told that like it doesn't matter. But even for Russia and China, most people are not this advanced, but they think like, oh, we're fighting Russia because of this. We're fighting China because of this. Sure, maybe. I believe the people who want the New World Order, I believe the people who want the open societies, I believe from the Zionist right to the, you know, open society left, because they have a lot of the same policy, even though people don't realize it. They see China and Russia as a threat because China is a nation of Chinese people. Russia is a nation of mostly Russians. They have diversity, but at the same time, they have a strong national identity. That's the biggest threat in the world to the people that want everybody except for one country to be a bunch of whatever. Like they don't want a strong, smart Chinese nation. I'm not a communist. I'm not Chinese. I wouldn't want to live there. But I do understand that they're not perfect. They are a competent, functional country that wants to preserve their ethnic group because most countries have not been able to do that. And they have no plans of becoming like, you know, any sort of Western country. They don't want to. And you could see the open society groups, they complain about Russia. They complain about China. They want their NGOs and their businesses to come in so they can turn China and Russia into San Francisco, where it's just a big hodgepodge of everything. Like where I grew up, or at least where my grandparents grew up, not necessarily where I grew up. I've talked to my ancestors, like my great aunt, who's my grandfather's sister, was Italian. And there's places where I grew up that are now hell zones. They're literally some of the biggest murder capitals in the country. And I asked my aunt, I said, what was this like growing up? And she said, it was walkable. Everything was nice. Everything was safe. And she said it was all Italian. It's not Italian anymore. And it's really dangerous. Am I supposed to think that's just a coincidence? I don't think so. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just being honest with you guys. It's like, I think when it was mostly Italian, it was extremely safe. And now that it's like, there's barely any Italians there and it's other groups of people, they don't act like the Italians did in the 1930s and 40s and 50s. And you could say what you want about it, but that's just like the reality of it. So, you know, when it comes to America, like we're being fed that like this stuff doesn't matter. And it's like, I mean, things are going to change, but you could say they're going to change for the better, but I'm not allowed to say they're going to change for the worse. Why is that? Does that mean you're more moral than me? No, I'm being realistic. It's like, you know, if you go to certain parts of Michigan now, I'm trying to think where Henry Ford used to do work, Dearborn, Michigan. It's mostly Islamic now. Like if you're Islamic, you could be like, this is better. I fit in here. There's Muslim food, there's Arabic on the signs, you know, it's pretty safe here. Maybe, you know, it's like, it's got my culture. I like the way they vote because they agree with me. But then if you're white, like, let's just say you're white and you grew up in Dearborn, it was mostly white. Now it's mostly Islamic. Are you racist for not enjoying it as much as an Islamic person? No. It's like, if I went to Saudi Arabia, I'm sure I'd love it, but I wouldn't want to live there permanently because it's just not my country. But I'm sure they're nice to people and I respect Saudi Arabians, but it's like, everyone has a right to have certain preferences. So this is like the conversation now in South Africa is like, you know, Trump is going to say they're racist because they don't want white people there. and they're genociding them. And I do believe that white farmers are getting killed at too high of rates. But with that being said, it's like that's an interesting discussion, and I'm fine with Trump having it. But a more interesting discussion to me would be like, let's just say hypothetically, and I'm not wishing this on because I know white South Africans and they want to stay there, but I'm just saying, like, if the white South Africans left or moved, do you think it would get better or worse? I don't think it would get better, but that doesn't make me a racist. I just think that it wouldn't get better. But if they want to try, I don't have a connection there. I'm not like trying to kick out the South Africans, but it's like, what if, I don't know, like, is Germany and Russia and I don't know, like Ireland and the UK, like now these discussions are happening in the UK, and there's people in the UK being like, there's too many foreigners here, and then everyone says you're a racist. I mean, I don't want to go to London right now because I heard there's a lot of crime there. And if there wasn't a lot of crime in London, I'd want to go more. I heard there's a lot of crime in Paris, France. I don't want to go to Paris because I heard it sucks now. And I'm sure it's really nice and beautiful, but it's like I don't like crime. And I believe like 50 years ago, 40 years ago, there wasn't that much crime there. Am I supposed to believe that's some sort of spontaneous coincidence that just so happened randomly? I mean, you could say that, but I don't, it's worth having a conversation about. I traveled recently and went to 4 different islands, and one island I went to was beautiful and it's safe. And we went off of the port and everybody knew each other. And then I went to a different island and there's barbed wire fences everywhere and it looked like a prison cell. I know that the economy is bad and I know that storms hit a lot, but that's a low trust community. It's like everybody's robbing and stealing so much. It's like you have to treat people like any open thing is bad. And this happens in America too. You go to the nice parts of Los Angeles, there's no bars on the windows. You go to the bad parts of Los Angeles, there's bars on the windows. That means that humans are acting so insane that they think that any open area needs to be shut down or else they'll break into. I don't want to live in a community like that, right? I don't want to live in a neighborhood where you need bars on the window. So it's like I went to the Dominican Republic and I went to Bermuda. I don't know the reasons. Maybe it's economic, maybe it's culture, maybe it's something else. But Bermuda seemed very safe. Bermuda seemed very community, like they had British accents, and they knew their neighbors, they knew their people. In the Dominican Republic, it was like off of the the nice areas. It's like everything was barbed wire fenced down, and it looked crazy. So it's like, what is Bermuda doing better than the Dominican Republic? I don't know. Dominican. Maybe the economy's better in Bermuda. That could be a huge portion. Maybe the culture, they have a more culture of family and they love their people, so they're not robbing each other all the time. I don't really know, but it's like what I do know is my country, my culture, and I, like I can't speak on this stuff when it comes to South Africa, etc. But I'm tired of like the take right now is the left says everything's racist, and then the right, it's like they care about a genocide in one country, but not another country. They care about race in one country, but not our country. It's like, okay, it's just very basic to me, right? Like I'm not asking Trump to do anything, but it's just like, do I have to pretend? Like I've seen towns that were like 95% Polish, and it's like now they're not. And it's like, okay, it's like, does someone Polish have to say that they want their town to not be Polish? Like I don't understand it. In America, I understand it's like it's more complex because Native Americans were here first. Then you had white people and African Americans. Now everybody's here. So it's like it's not a country. Like if I lived in Poland, it would be a lot easier to say what I'm saying because it's like we're all Polish mostly, and then there's not, But in America, it's like you had natives, then you had white and black people, and then with the Hart-Celler Act, they just started bringing everyone from everywhere, and now America's like a hodgepodge of everything, and that's just what it is. And it's like, okay. There's some beautiful things about that, especially when people act right and don't commit violent crimes. But then there's also some things that are changing in a direction that people don't like. And it's like, I think it doesn't make you a moral person to say that this is awesome and anybody who disagrees is racist. Like it doesn't, you could be wrong and making things worse and acting like you have the moral high ground because you're playing the safe, easy thing to say. And it's like the liberals say the safest, easy thing to say, and they're wrong about most things. And then Republicans do like the next safe thing to say. And then it's like anybody who takes another take is considered like extreme. And some people are extreme, but I'm just being honest. It's like, I don't I don't want to go to France and have it look like another country. I want it to be French. I want to go to UK. No offense, but it's like I want to be around a bunch of English people like that. And it's like now that London sucks and people are getting stabbed all the time, I don't even want to go there. Like London's an embarrassment to the English people. When I go to Saudi Arabia, I'm not trying to see a bunch of Mexicans. I'm trying to see Mexicans in Mexico. Like, is that a wrong thing to take? Like, it's not like I don't like certain cultures. It's just like I just don't want every place to lose their identity completely. Like, you go to Dubai, it'll be interesting. Going to like Riyadh, Saudi Arabia would probably be cool. I wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia and be like, you know what you guys need? More Africans, more Mexicans, more Chinese people, and 50% Caucasians. It's like, why do they need that? Why is it only that historically white countries need that, but no one else is doing that? Like, no, everybody notices it, but nobody wants to say it because it sounds like horrible, and you're going to get called names that you're not. But it's like China's not becoming more diverse. Japan's not really becoming more diverse. Africa is not becoming more diverse. I mean, India has over 1 billion people. I think Indian people are great, but it's like, now they're all over Toronto and stuff. And that's fine. If you're Indian in Toronto, God bless you. But it's like, if you're predominantly French Canadian and now the demographics shift so much that it seems like you're in India, does that make you a hateful person? Not necessarily, because it's just a math equation. Like, let's just say there were like 7 billion white people on this country and only like 100 million Indians. Like, if I flooded, India with white people and Indians started getting mad, they have every right to get mad because they have less people. Like, that's just a math equation. So, India has over 1 billion people. Africa has over 1 billion people. They could basically, go to every country and still have massive numbers in their own country. It's a numbers game. So, it's like, I know in Canada, like they took in so much Indian immigration, it's like becoming little India. And, I guess like I grew up where I grew up, it was like very white, but it was also like very Asian and Indian. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the biggest demographic. The first demographic where I grew up was mostly white. Then the second was Indian or Asian. And then the third was Asian or Indian, whichever one it wasn't. Like, I want to say there were like hundreds of Indians and Asians in my school. There's a lot of things I like about it. Like, everybody, it was a cool place to grow up. There wasn't a lot of crime, and I'm not trying to stereotype. I'm just being honest. Like, I like that Asian and Indian, on average, they're not doing violent crimes. Like, it was a very safe area to be in because of all the different demographics. Even though they were different, not a lot of violent crime. In fact, virtually almost zero. With that being said, it's like I had Indian friends, I had Asian friends, but I noticed that like in my high school, a lot of the Asian students kind of kept to themselves and a lot of the Indians kept to themselves. Me, I like people. So I had a lot of Asian friends and I had a lot of Indian friends, and I'm just a nice kid. So, I was never a bully or I never hated on anybody. So I ended up kind of learning about each group. But it's like my Indian friends smoked a hookah. My white friends didn't even know what a hookah was. Like, there's a difference. And I'm not saying it's all bad. Like, my childhood was great and I'm very grateful to grow up in a nice area. But it's like at a certain point, everybody has a right to their opinion. Like, if you grew up in an area and it was mostly farmland and now it's overdeveloped like everywhere, you have a right to be like, I don't like all this development. I don't like this. I don't like this type of immigration. There's too much of this. And if you grew up in Canada and it was like 95% French European and now it's like whatever, 30% Indian, it doesn't mean you hate India or Indians to be like, I liked it better the other way. And if you're Indian, you should be allowed to say, I want more Indians because I like it. It makes me feel more at home, or it makes me feel better. Or you could say, I'm Indian and I moved here to move around these type of people. I don't really care what it is. Everyone has a right to have any opinion or not care about it at all. But what I'm saying is literally what I just said. I balance these two topics in my head on a micro level. I've never once judged somebody by the color of their skin or said, I like you as a person, but I don't like your race. I don't act that way. I have friends of all types, all religions, all races because of who they are. On a micro scale, I believe that's the right way to treat people because we're all human and everybody is who they are. Like, I'm who I am because that's how I was born. That's everybody. I love every culture in some way, and I think it's great to learn from every culture. On a macro scale, I'm not one of these boomer Republicans where it's like race doesn't matter at all. If race doesn't matter at all, why are you talking about white genocide in South Africa? Because there's a racial conflict. And I understand they're saying it's bad to be racist, they're racist, and we need to get rid of racism. You say that, but America, the trends are happening whether you care or not. And your normie take isn't going to be your take in 10 years. You're going to say what I'm saying, because when things shift in a certain direction and certain things change in a way that's unfavorable to you, you might not like it. So it's like, I believe that you shouldn't treat an individual based on their ethnic group, and you should love everybody and love people based on who they are, and try to learn from every different culture. But on a macro scale, I don't believe that race doesn't matter. I don't believe that if you took Japanese people, put them all in New York City, took everyone out of New York City and sent them to Japan, I don't think you'd have equal results. If you gave 50 people houses, I don't believe everyone would do the same thing with it. I don't think everybody would clean with it. If you gave 50 people the same business, I don't think everyone would have the same results. Like, I don't believe that's how it works, individually or group. So I just don't believe this idea that it's like, it's like anyone can come here and then it'll be the same. If that's true, let's just bring half Chinese people somewhere else, and then we'll replace the half Chinese people in China with other people, teach them Chinese, and then it'll be exactly just like China, right? It's not. It's going to have different results, some better, some worse. But at the end of the day, it's like I think that the only people who believe this seems to be Europe and America and Canada. And then Europe, America, and Canada are all saying it's getting worse. They're like, the crime's going up. It's not the country I grew up in. And then you talk to that same boomer conservative, and then they'll be like, but I don't notice a difference. And it's like, okay, I get what you're saying, because on a personal level, I understand that. And like, I've lived a blessed life where I've met great people from all over, and America is really a place where it's very unique like that. But it's just like, I don't know. I think as time goes on, like, everybody's going to think more like that. And I don't, I think you could love every group and culture without thinking they're all exactly the same. Thinking everything's exactly the same is an open society strategy. It's like, let's just make everyone like this. Well, then now there is no diversity, right? Diversity is going to Europe, Italy being Italy, France being France, Germany being Germany, Spain being Spain. That's diversity. Yes, you could have tourists. Yes, you could have people live there. But if every single country is just a hodgepodge of every single country in Europe, there is no diversity anymore. You go to France, it's like people want the French experience. They don't want like I'm in a ghetto experience and there's graffiti everywhere. It's like, that's like every city now. It's just like trash. There's trash everywhere. There's graffiti everywhere. They're like, don't walk down that neighborhood, you'll get stabbed. Why? Why are people so untrustworthy in this neighborhood that people are getting stabbed? Like, it's not normal. That's not desirable, right? How come I could go to Dubai, take off a $50,000 watch that I don't even own because I don't have a watch that expensive, but it's like, take off a watch, leave it on a bench, go away and come back. How come I could do that in Dubai, but in Chicago I can't do that? There's diversity in Dubai. Well, they have strict laws. So why do we not have strict laws, right? It's like you either have a trustworthy society or you have strict laws. How come in America, like, what's going on here? Why are we getting surpassed by these foreign cities in safety? Aren't we embarrassed? Is anyone embarrassed? No, nobody even talks about it, because it's like, Donald Trump will talk about illegal immigration. Cool. He'll talk about anti-Semitism on college campuses. Okay. But nobody wants to be like, I'm going to fix Chicago, because they'll be like, oh, it's the Democrats' responsibility. Okay. So the crime in the cities are Democrat responsibilities, but anti-Semitism on a liberal college campus in a liberal state and a liberal city, that's your responsibility, right? That's your responsibility to overstep and make them adopt hate speech laws. But it's not your responsibility to keep Republicans and liberals safe in a liberal city where there's millions of Republicans. There's millions of conservatives in Los Angeles. Millions. Like, just statistically, it's like 40-60 or 30-70. Like, there's millions. So it's not your responsibility to protect millions of your people in Los Angeles, but it's your responsibility to take the hate speech out of a college campus and force them to adopt international hate speech laws. But this is the world we live in. People only think about what Trump tells them to think about. It's like, Trump says this, people think about this. We're living in a world where Trump is the sun, and whether people love him or hate him, they're revolving around him. So the discussion goes about as far as he wants it to go. outside of social media. That's why people kind of pushing the boundaries on social media, they're just as important, because it's like, if you just revolve around Trump, you're going to be in the same spot you were 4 years ago. Like, it doesn't mean you have to hate him, but it's like, there's way more interest. This is how I'm ahead on so much stuff. I'm not bragging. I'm just being honest. How come you talked about mandatory vaccines in 2019 before the pandemic? Are you a prophet? No, I pay attention. How come you knew all this stuff was going to happen? Because I'm 6 years ahead, because I don't revolve around Donald Trump. I get to what's really going on. And 50% of the time, Trump is he's an interesting guy. You know what I'm saying? He's an interesting boomer who has good takes on a lot of things and has some bad takes. That's who he is. He's definitely worth listening to. He's the president. You should listen to everything he says, or some things he says. But it's like, to revolve around Donald Trump is just as dumb as hating on him for 4 years. It's like, it's going nowhere, and that's the design of politics. Revolve around Joe Biden for 4 years. Then you're going to revolve around Donald Trump. Then you're going to hate AOC. Then you're going to like JD Vance. Then you're going to hate, Elizabeth Warren. Like, they don't, it's not a threat to the banking establishment or the New World Order or the military industrial complex if your whole thought process is revolving around a politician. In fact, this is what they're doing. They have strategies to be like, what do people want? What's going to stop them from getting upset? What's going to stop them from fixing the problem? Okay, here's Bill Clinton. Okay, he did whatever. What's going to convince Republicans into fighting a war against their own interest and getting their own kids killed for a foreign country that doesn't even like them? Oh, George W. Bush. He'll do that. Okay. People are tired of George W. Bush. They're starting to realize the Iraq war is kind of a lie, and they're catching on to it. What can we give people to counterbalance the white Republican guy who got us in the Middle East to kill our kids for another country? Oh, the new black guy who nobody knows, Barack Obama, who's really, liberal, but well-spoken and knows how to talk to conservatives. Cool. Okay. Let's give you that guy for 8 years. Oh, shoot. No, people are starting to catch on to Obama. They're starting to realize that racial tension's getting weirder. Their healthcare just got destroyed. Okay. People don't like Obama anymore. What can we give people to make them feel like somebody's going to beat Barack Obama? Let's give him the billionaire who invited Hillary Clinton to the wedding, who used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein and who hired the guy who let Jeffrey Epstein off the hook, Azar or whatever, or no, Acosta. Not Azar. Azar was the pharmaceutical guy that Trump picked, but Acosta's the guy. Let's give him that guy, the Epstein friend guy who's going to beat up the deep state by literally hiring them and fight the neocons by endorsing them. Let's give him for 4 years. Oh, there's a lockdown. Would Republicans believe Hillary Clinton in a lockdown? No, they would never lock down for Hillary Clinton, but for Donald Trump, they might. So let's give them the father of the vaccine who's going to Operation Warp Speed, make it sound like it's a cool fighting the deep state agenda, for the pharmaceutical industry. Trump turns into a communist, a socialist on steroids. He prints even more money than Obama. He turns into AOC and Andrew Yang literally on creatine and steroids. And but now Joe Biden's in office. Now everything's his fault. And then Joe Biden mandates the product that Trump rushed. And now it's all Joe Biden's fault for mandating it. And now the Overton window has shifted so far that you have millions of brain dead Republicans saying, well, at least Donald Trump didn't mandate the vaccine. And that's what happens when you move the Overton window. It goes to like, here's like a normal reality. Now we're in a lockdown and now they print trillions of dollars. And even though Trump did a lot of that stuff, it's not that bad because Hulk Hogan versus like the Iron Sheik. Well, the Iron Sheik's trying to mandate the vaccine, and the Hulk Hogan, he only locked the country down and printed trillions of dollars. And then they give you Joe Biden, that's like a brain dead corpse essentially. And it's like, oh my gosh, we need to go back to Donald Trump and forget everything he just did because that's the only option. And now we're here, and it's like, yeah, Trump's better than Biden, but my baseline is like Trump's better than Biden, but he's still like, in my opinion, his first term was one of the worst terms in modern history, given what he had to, govern over for a year during the lockdown stuff. It's like, I'm not blaming it on him. I'm just saying objectively, like, it wasn't one of the best years in America. It's one of the biggest scams and wealth transfers in modern history. Trump is a proud father of one of the worst medical products in history and one of the most egregious abuses of power. And now we have him again, but no boomers want to talk about him because he's going to fight out like this. They're genius. They think you're cattle, so don't act like it. If you want to be treated like a human, stop acting like an animal. And it's like this game of like left versus right. They'll play it forever. They have unlimited narratives. It's going to be like 4 years of Donald Trump. who's going to come along? It's either going to be JD Vance to do the same thing, or it's going to be like, some Democrat who can convince people that he's going to stop the rhetoric on Donald Trump. And I know people that are kind of on the fence. The people that are on the fence, a lot of them, they don't like Donald Trump. Like I have a good read on things. Like during this election, I felt like Trump probably would win because it just seemed like he had momentum. Joe Biden was an idiot. Kamala Harris was a goofball. Like it felt like all the momentum was on Donald Trump's side. And this like, what if, what's he going to do? Now, after what he did on the college campuses, where he abused his power to try to cry hate speech and really like he's going after the colleges, which I don't mind, but he's using anti-Semitism. And even Rubio is like, he can't even explain the crime that they're going after some students for because they're writing op-eds about a country that they work for. And it's like, dude, I thought you were going to deport illegals. Like, I didn't know you were going to go after college students writing op-eds. That seems like a pretty dumb misstep to me, but it's not a misstep when you realize who funds the Republican Party. Mega donors give hundreds of millions of dollars to the Republican Party to make them essentially serve a foreign country and say that it's hate speech to say that they're doing it. So it's not random that Trump's doing this misstep. The people who fund politics, they don't care what happens to the Republican Party. They fund the politicians to get what they want. And if that tanks Trump's next term or that tanks JD Vance's next term, they don't care because they got what they wanted through legislation. And then it goes back to the left. And then some people will fund the left, and then the left will do it, and then the right will do it. They're controlled by the donors. So what I'm trying to say is like, I don't know what's going to happen because a lot of things are going to change. But if Democrats can run somebody who's not Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, a complete idiot, somebody that's sneaky like Obama, they're going to win the next election because people that I know that don't like really hate Trump, but they're not liberals. They're just not feeling like. I see a lot more complaints about him like than I did like a couple months ago, just because he's not just sticking to his game plan. He's just kind of like doing other stuff. The tariff thing, for example, it's like, I didn't mind the original round of tariffs. It definitely crashed the stock market for a little while, but I get it. I get the idea of it. I get I don't get after it's all gone to now come back and be like 50%. It's like, dude, I don't know. It's just getting like stupid. It's like, what do you want Europe to do? You want Europe to lose the trade deficit? Once again, I said this earlier, but a trade deficit doesn't mean you're being taken advantage of. I have a trade deficit to every shop I've ever used. I have a trade deficit to Amazon, trade deficit to Whole Foods, trade deficit to Trader Joe's, trade deficit to ShopRite, trade deficit to Kroger, trade deficit to 7-Eleven, trade deficit to Sheetz. You know what I'm saying? Like they've never bought a product from me. I'm not being taken advantage of them. It's a free market trade, and they just make something I want to buy. The trade deficit doesn't mean anything. Trump's an idiot. And then it's like 50% for what? What do you want them to do? Take our beef? You want to make a bunch of money off poisoning Europeans with the shit food that's poisoning everybody in America? Like, that's who Trump is. He's a clown. He's our clown. He's a funny one. He's sometimes impressive, sometimes strong. Part of me wants to love Donald Trump because he's our guy and, he does do some cool stuff, but then he does stuff like this. And I'm like, he's just a clown. And then Howard Lutnick tries to pretend like he's Donald Trump. And he's like, they won't take our big, beautiful beef. Howard Lutnick wishes he was Donald Trump. He's cosplaying. It's like big, beautiful beef. That's not why they're not taking it, you dingus. They're not taking it because they have health standards. In Europe, people are healthier than us. In Italy, they're healthier. Aren't you embarrassed? These people have no shame. They'll sell you a vaccine and call it Operation Warp Speed. They'll sell you GMO antibiotic food and say it's big, beautiful beef. And you're stupid if you buy it. But the problem is most people are, and it's like most people that like Trump, they're like, what are you, a Democrat? It's like, dude, you look like sloppy potato salad. And it's not, I'm not hating on your appearance. It's not your fault. It's because we're being poisoned. These people are like, oh, you don't like that Donald Trump did that? You look like I shook up potato salad in a Tupperware container, put it sideways on the drink side of the refrigerator and took it out 2 days. And it's like that. Everybody in America is like misshapen. They look like silly putty. Why is that? I could say it's because we're so bad and lazy. It's not. It's because our food is poison. You go over to other countries, you eat normal food, and you're not that fat and you're not that misshapen. But it's like you got Howard Lutnick. He's like, you want our big, beautiful beef in Europe and we'll give you tariffs until you take our beef. Why do you want to poison Europeans, Trump and Lutnick? What you want them to have our food? RFK is trying to fix our food. You don't want to send our food before it's fixed. I walk a lot. I work out more than most people. I take care of myself. I don't eat that much. It's insanely hard to keep off weight in this country. It's literally insane. It's like you have to go to the extreme just to be a normal person in this country. In Italy, it's like you just eat their food. You eat a little pasta, you have a little pizza, mamma mia. You wake up in the morning and it's like you lost weight. Why? Because it's real cheese. It's real bread. In America, everything's GMO. Everything's like freaking antibiotics filled. Like we're eating poison. We're being poisoned. But nobody cares because they're like, well, Trump and Lutnick said it's big, beautiful beef, and I'm a big, beautiful boy, and Anomaly's a girl. I'm not a girl. I'm built like an athlete. I could dunk. I could play sports. I think I could have went pro in some if I would have tried really hard, but that's debatable. I'm built like an athlete. I got thick legs. I got strong arms. I'm a little bit fatter than I should be, to be honest. I'll blame the American food, but honestly, I could do better. But it's like, I'm not a girl. You look like potato salad. But you're proud of it. It's like, I don't mind looking like potato salad as long as I have my beer and I get to watch Sean Hannity tonight, where he tells me about how bad the Muslims are, so I could send my kids overseas to die for a foreign country that hates us because I think I'm beating up Al Qaeda. It's like, not only did we not beat them up, but literally Syria is being run by somebody who used to work for Al Qaeda, which points to every sign of we were probably working with them too. Isn't that a little bit scary or embarrassing to you that, thousands of people died on 9/11, then we sent hundreds of thousands of people to die overseas, and when it's all said and done, our government's completely fine with a former Al Qaeda member running Syria? You know why they're fine with him running Syria? Because they helped him get there. They helped him get there by funding the rebel groups in order to overthrow the leader so that an Al Qaeda member could lead Syria. But these boomers don't even see it. It's like, you think you're beating up the radical Muslims while your government's literally working for them, and you can't figure it out. Like, oh, that's just George Bush. You wish. I mean, Trump seems a little better for sure. But anyway, Victoria Loves Jesus, $19 super chat. So I like her 19 times more than everyone else here. Thank you, Victoria. She said, your last song was absolutely incredible. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. I hope it does well. I'm not really going to put any money into marketing or anything, so I'm just going to let it exist in the world. But I appreciate it. It's called Don't Play. I have the music video on my page, YouTube, Facebook. It's on Spotify. Just search Don't Play Anomaly. I think it's a great song too. I think it's a banger. It's good to ride around in the car. It's good to add to your playlist on Spotify and listen to in the gym to get pumped up. There's no swear words in it, for those wondering. It sounds intense like there would be, but I didn't curse. I don't think I said anything degenerate or weird, so I think it's a very wholesome song, but it's a banger. It's definitely, we'll see how it does. Nowadays I feel like it's hard to make a big song unless it's gimmicky, like like I gotta make like a gimmicky song in order to get it a lot of views, but it's not really, there's not like a gimmick in it, so it's going to be hard to get a lot of streams on it, but who knows, we'll see. A big beautiful song. Some say it's the biggest, most beautiful song of all time. I heard that Freddie Mercury heard my new song, Don't Play, Anomaly, Don't Play, on Spotify. Freddie Mercury heard it and he said, well, wow, that's quite the big, beautiful beef song you have there. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was a good song until I heard that. Wow. And then I talked to Howard Lutnick. He's a really good boy. And Howard said, let's give that big, beautiful, antibiotic-filled poison beef to Europeans, okay? Big Daddy Trump cares about white people in Africa, but then we want to send big, beautiful beef to Europe to make them big and fat and beautiful like our American women. Ooh, I love it. No, I'm just kidding. Men are big too, not just women. I didn't want to sound sexist there, but someone said, I want a big, beautiful boomer song. Wow, that's a big, beautiful boomer song. I actually made a boomer song with someone named DC Capital, but he never released it. It was called I Like Based Boomers. It was like the ultimate boomer song. I don't know what happened to it or if my verse was even good. I can't remember, but he did have the ultimate boomer song. I like bass boomers, something like that. Someone said no popes, no kings. I like the Pope. He's from Chicago. Okay. I sent JD Vance over to give him a jersey, a Chicago Bears jersey, and he said, wow, thank you, JD. That's a big, beautiful jersey you just gave me, JD. Wow. That's the biggest, most beautiful gift I've ever received in my big, beautiful life. Thank you so much, JD. And we said, no problem, Mr. Pope. It's okay. I was going to be the Pope, but I decided to not be the Pope, so you should be lucky. If Trump wants it, he gets it, okay? And he said, wow, thank you, Mr. Trump. Anyway, who was that? What's the song you just sang? Which one? I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy with a poor vaccine. Give him a vaccine from Daddy Trump. Easy come, easy go. Pfizer, give me dough. Hishbilla, no. Will you get the Pfizer? Mishilla, no. Will you get the J&J? Wow, the J&J vaccine's the double Trumpy pumpy. I'm mad they took it off the market. Okay. I know Woody Johnson, okay? Woody's a really big, beautiful guy. Woody says to me, I'm taking that fat medication. I said, it's not working, fatso. I'm just kidding. Woody Johnson, please don't be mad at me. You're probably in shape. I don't know. If you're not, I'm sorry. If you are, I'm also sorry. Wow. It was a different billionaire Trump was talking about, so it wasn't Woody Johnson. I like Woody Johnson. I like all Johnsons. Chad Ochocinco. I used to love Ochocinco catch the ball. Wow. I used to say, wow, that man caught the ball. I can't be racist if I like Chad Ochocinco. Am I right? Hey, blacks, vote for Trump. Vote for Trump in the election. I give you platinum plan. Platinum. I don't know. My Trump, it started fading at the end of that, but he's like, wow. I used to watch him catch the ball and be like, whoa, it's a really athletic catch there. You're like, okay. A black accent? That's racist. That's all I'm going to do. Because that's racist if you do that. I mean, I have, if you want me to, if you push me enough, if you're like, Anomaly, you only make fun of the Caucasians, you need to make fun of other races, then I could do it. It's got to come naturally, though. I don't want to just start doing like a black accent right now. Ben Shapiro doesn't rap in a black accent. Are you suggesting Ben's a better rapper than me? I mean, he definitely hit number one because of Tom McDonald, but I mean, I don't rap in a black accent. It's just when you rap fast, you rap, you have to do it a certain way. But I wouldn't say I rap in a black accent. It's like when I talk, like I'm not going to say I chant, but like if I'm in like a job interview or I'm just talking to my friends, I talk differently. And same with like news. Sometimes I talk not trying to be fake or anything, but it's like certain times you're in like a different flow, you know? So when I rap, like I be feeling like a legend at the Mecca because I never sold my soul to get it. That special, all the winners that you're seeing on the television screen probably had to tap dance with the devil. I'm a rebel. You're not going to be like, I be feeling like a legend at the Mecca because I never sold my soul to get it. That's special. All the winners that you're seeing on the television screen probably had to tap dance with the devil. Like, I don't talk like that anyway. Like, that's not how I talk when I talk. I don't talk that Caucasian, but you're like, hey, my name is Sylvester here. I'm here for the job interview. Yeah, of course. I ironed my shirt. I'm ready to go. I've really gone over, it's like, Bartleby told me all about this. That's not how I even talk normally. So when I rap, it's like, there's a melody to it too. When you're rapping or saying something, like there's a certain melodic element to it. So it's like, dun, 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 dun. There's different notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Someone said I'm feeling targeted. Well, is your name Bartleby? That's a cool name. But yo, I'll do a different accent, y'all, because I don't want to just make fun of white people. Then white people say you being racist towards us. You heard? That was terrible. But I didn't want the Caucasians to get upset because I did a white impression. I feel like it's only fair to do a different one. Someone said you write your rhymes fabricated. I hate it. No, I write them all myself. No AI, no fabrication. Someone said every time I play guitar. Hold on, I missed that one. Someone said every time I play guitar, I have different songs in it because of the sound. I don't get what you're saying, but I got you. Asian accent. I could do a good Asian one. I just don't want it right now. I do a good Indian too, but I don't, I've done enough accents. I feel like it's forced now and it's just going to come off a little racial, but I do a good like Indian, I like a chicken korma. That was kind of bad, but I could do it better. I do like chicken korma. It's my favorite Indian food. So sometimes when I'm thinking about chicken korma, I think chicken korma. I try to do it Indian. I could do that one song too. It's called Mundian Bakke. I forget how it's called, but it's by Punjabi MC. I could sing that song really well. Like it's like meet me at the Bundesliga Bacchanal. I don't want to do it right now because I don't want to like give all my secrets away, but I got a little Indian in me. I don't know what it is. I heard that song too many times. It just transformed me into an Indian. I'm a race. I got traded in the race war. Thanks to the Simpsons. Oh yeah, Apu. Didn't they like cancel him or something? They said it was racist or like didn't they take him off the show even though he's not a real person? Slushies at 7-Eleven 24 hours. There is a high correlation between Indians on the East Coast and 7-Elevens. There's nothing racist about it. They just do good 7-Eleven business or something. Someone said Anomaly should have been the new anchor on Candace Owens' show, not Ian Carroll. I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but I wouldn't want to be. No offense. It's just like I'm in a different mind state now. I don't want to be the center of attention. I'm not trying to like, I don't know. It's just not appealing to me. So I think it's a good fit for what they're doing. Like, I think Ian was I didn't watch any of the shows. So to be honest, I have no idea, but like Ian wanted to do it. Candace wanted him to do it. That's all you need to know. I wouldn't want to do it. She didn't ask me. I know what I'm capable of and I know what I can do, but it's just like I don't want to be the center of attention. It's like let me get yelled at by a bunch of people on Twitter all day. Like it's like I want to get paid more if I'm going to do that. Like not that money's everything, but it's like, hey, everyone yell at me because I'm the guy that's standing there. It's like, what's the point at this point? Like, where's it going? Where is this going? I'd rather make a lot of money and then just not do this in 2 years. Someone said he's doing a fine job. I'm sure he is. I mean, I feel like they're a good fit for each other, and I'm not saying that in a rude way. I think he was good to pick up right where she left off, but to be honest, I didn't watch any of the shows he did. So I have no idea what he's even talking about. Someone said, I think we should all take a 2-month break from the interwebs and stop feeding the beast system. I mean, I do like every time I do that, this is the tough thing is like, especially working on it, you lose a lot of money and you lose a lot of momentum. The money is not like I'm fine. Like that's every vacation. You pretty much lose money, but it's like the losing momentum sucks because it's like you build all this momentum, you leave for 3 weeks to just clear your mind, and then you lose all the momentum. So it's like it's not like I've lost all momentum, but it's like I build. I go on vacation, and then I go back. I pick it up. I get back to where I was. I pick it up. There's something to be said about consistency. It really matters, I think, on social media. And I know like my Instagram page, I feel like I had one of the biggest reaches in like the world. Like everything I did was getting million views, 500,000 views. But it's like, do I want to be the guy that just makes Instagram videos every day? I guess but I never even wanted to make reels anyway. Like I never wanted to do that. I had to do that because they stopped showing my longer form videos on Instagram. So I think I'm good at reels and I definitely do a great job, but I can't do what I'm not inspired to do. And I haven't been inspired to like bang out as much content recently because I just don't see a point. So every video I do because I was excited about it. Like today, I'm glad people annoyed me on Facebook because it made me excited to be here. But besides that, it's like I can't force myself to go live if I'm not passionate about it and I don't have something that I think matters, But the name of the news game is just like post 1,000 times a day, like do 5 videos a day. It's like, there's no way anybody cares about this much stuff enough. It's just a business model, which I respect and I'm not knocking. It's just, I'm a very passionate person and I move with meaning. I can't just like do something that I'm not into or else I'd rather not do it. And I've fortunately built a life for myself where I don't have to. I have the financial freedom to not do it. But that being said, I still want to do stuff, but like you said, it just like feeding the beast all the time. It's just like, yeah, I get it, but I want to transition to do less and get more out of it. Less is more. Like Charmin, they're like, here's 1 piece of toilet paper. Less is more. It's $50. You're like, well, less is not really more. I think no, I'm not saying they did that. They just said their rolls were thicker. But that's such a funny like concept. You're like Doritos, 10% in the bag, less is more, less calories. So you're like, I'm just getting less chips, but I get it. But they're not doing that. I don't want to get sued by Doritos or Charmin, but less is more. I remember that on the TV. they had like the Charmin bear. They're like, wipe your bum, thick sheets, less is more. And I'm like, less is more? What? I'm American. More is more. You put as much on that plate as possible, but I get it. They had thicker rolls or something. But I wasn't a fan of that marketing. Although it worked because it's still ingrained in my head, I guess. English accents are hot, though, when I listen to a lady talk. Dude, English people are dropping the ball a little bit because English accents are awesome. Like, it makes you sound smart. It is attractive when a lady's like, hey, how you doing? You're like, whoa, this is a special moment, you know? Maybe it's because we're not from there, but English people, you guys keep crushing. Good luck, and we need more of you to dominate because it's like everything does sound cool in an English accent, so you guys should be out there crushing everything, but I don't see that many English people anymore doing stuff. I guess they do in music, and they're doing well, but you could do better, English people. Step it up. Or maybe you can't. Or maybe you're doing good already and I'm just being rude. I don't know. Oh, well. Someone said we need more toilet paper ads. I mean, to be fair, I'd rather a toilet paper ad than like a Ozempic. And, you know, like, dude, I'm going to just look up like I'm going to use AI to look up like the top 10, like pharmaceuticals on TV just so I could say them. They're just like such funny. What are the top 10 pharma products that advertise the most on TV? Can you name them? All right. I'm going to look it up because every time I watch Jeopardy, there's a new one and they're like, inject this once a day. Like, where are these products coming from? Dude, I just want to watch Jeopardy. I don't want to be bombarded. All right, ready? Dude, this is so bad. All right, here's the top 10 products. The first one is Vraylar. Vraylar capripicine, a Brevi's antipsychotic drug for schizophrenia, bipolar 1 disorder, and major depressive order with $1.9 billion TV impressions and $24 million spent in ad spend. Vraylar. Get your Vraylar. Talk to your doctor first. Whoa, okay. The second one is Vivgart Heruglow. What the? Argen's treatment for chronic inflammatory demyelinating polymorphy. Oh my gosh. 1.5 billion in TV impressions, 8.3 million in ad spend. This is Grok telling me all this stuff. Monjaro. I've seen that one. Monjaro. Talk to your doctor about Monjaro. It's like, dude, Mount Kilimanjaro, climb a mountain. They're like, no, don't climb a mountain. Talk to your doctor about Monjaro. Eli Lilly's diabetes drug with 1.2 billion. All right. Xolair, Skyrizi. Oh my gosh. I've seen Skyrizi too many times. They're like, they have like this like children's music playing and they're like, la 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 la. Are you not happy? Do you want to be happy like everyone in the Skyrizi commercial? Then Skyrizi. Skyrizi is, it's for Crohn's disease. I thought it was for like depression or something because they all look so happy and that music is like Skyrizi pharmaceuticals. Rinvoq, I've seen that one a bunch of time. Immunology drug, my goodness. Dupixent, Astropro, Sotokyu, and Pfizer's COVID vaccine. Sotokyu? You want to play Sudoku? No, not Sudoku. Sotokyu. What is that? You come over and I show you my new Sotokyu I bought on the television. What is that like a new Tamagotchi or something? Is that the new Japanese card game craze for children? No, Sudoku's my Bristol Myers Squibb psoriasis drug. It's a third in 2023 with a strong TV ad presence during the Grammy Awards. Sotokyu, Vraylar, Vivgart Herutlo, Monjaro, Xolair, Skyrizi, Rinvoq, Dupixent, Astropro, and Sotokyu. I guess Ozempic doesn't need to be top 10 in ad spend because all the fatties just want to take Ozempic anyway. And even people that aren't fat want to take it because they want to look like their bones are disappearing. But I'm not saying they literally do. I'm saying they want to look like that. But also, Ozempic, talk to your doctor about it. This is just comedy. This is in no way, shape, or form financial or medical advice. And in no way, shape, or form is this information that you need to listen to. This is just pure comedy, folks. Talk to your local, pharmaceutical lobby doctor with this stuff. Don't listen to me because I have no idea. I just wanted to say that I saw those on TV every time I try to watch Jeopardy, and it's annoying. And I mute the television during the commercials because it's toxic and gross and weird. they're like, does your leg hurt? Maybe, you need the, it's like, I don't know. Does it? And then I start feeling self-conscious. I'm like, well, it does. I do feel a little off today. I don't know. Someone said, why are you creating? I'm just going, I don't know, the cancel. All right. Someone said I'm on 300, not so relevant, said I'm on 300 milligrams of Shrink-a-Slong. I have to take it daily because I have a dragon blank. Dude, it's tough having a big schlong, having to take Shrink-a-Slong, dude. I feel your pain, dude. Sorry you have to deal with that, dude. That's just a classic American problem, just being a alpha macho man. Sorry about that, dude. I hear you though. I've never taken that medication, but I've heard mixed reviews, to be honest. Just kidding. That was a joke by that guy that I pretended like it was mine. Actually, I didn't. I read his name. What do I think of Take It Down Trump Act Trump rammed through? I didn't really catch it. Take it down is a federal law that criminalizes the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery and requires online platforms to remove such images, including AI-generated deepfakes, within 24 hours reported made by a victim. So the government's going to force people to take down an AI-generated deepfake. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. What do you guys think? I have to think about it more. I mean, on one hand, I don't like the idea of revenge pornography, but it's definitely going to open a new can of worms and people are going to lie. Can I say this about Nancy Mace? And then she was talking about that, and that's where she's like, I'm going to show my naked body to show you that I was being taken advantage of. And I was like, whoa. No, I'm just kidding. But I was like, what? Like, why do you have to show your naked body to make a point? And then she's talking about this guy. She's like, this peeping Tom, this rapist, this blah, blah, blah. And then I realized it was her ex-fiance or something. And it's like, I'm not saying her ex-fiance wasn't a scumbag, but I don't have any ex-fiancés doing that because I don't date psychopaths. And it's like, I'd take personal accountability. But apparently she's like getting mad at her ex, which I understand. I don't believe in revenge porn, but it's just like, if your ex is so bad, why do you have to talk about him as if he's not your ex? Like, when I was reading it, I thought that just some random guy is like recording her naked or something. And I'm like, that's crazy. But then she's kind of covering up the fact that it's her fiance. It's like, if he's so bad, why don't you write, well, my fiance did this in the post? Like, why are you trying to mislead people into thinking that some random guy's just recording you when it's somebody that you were literally thinking about marrying and probably lived with? Like, it doesn't make it right if he did any of those things, but no offense, like, I don't believe Nancy Mace. I don't believe her. I've caught her lying about other things, and I think she's an attention whore. I'm sorry for using the word whore there, but attention whore, I don't know. And also, it's like, I'm going to show my naked body to the public to like her showing that like blurred out image of herself makes no difference. Like, her telling it and her showing that, there's no difference being made. It doesn't prove her point any more or less, especially when it's her fiance. So it's like, your fiance, you probably you might have had a camera in your house. I'm not saying it makes what he did right, but it's like, living with someone and showing that they have foot, like, how does showing it and not showing it make any difference to our argument? Like, that, the blurred out image of her standing there made no difference. It would make a difference if she was staying in a hotel room and somebody recorded her against her will. But if it's like your ex-fiance, I'm not saying it was not against your will. It's just like, I don't believe her. And then you have somebody with Nancy Mace. I'm not trying to be rude. I probably shouldn't say this and I should keep it to myself, but it's too late and I'm going to say it. And I know this because, I'm a man. I like women that have nice boobs. I'm just going to say it. I like a nice fit booty. Somebody works out, has a nice booty, and I don't mind a pair of jugulars. I'm just going to say it. I probably shouldn't, but it's too late. Nancy Mace almost definitely has fake tits. Okay. She's got big boobs. She puts them out at every chance she gets. She has so many videos of her showing it off. She wears really revealing dresses to show off her fake tits. And I'm all for it. Knock yourself out. You got some big fakies. You want to show them off. You want to get your money's worth. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's like when you have the one congressperson that probably shows off the most, like AOC is somewhat hot. I'm not going to say she's that hot, but she's somewhat hot. She doesn't even show off like ever. You know what I'm saying? AOC like never shows off. She dresses very conservatively. Nancy May shows off her titties more than anybody in Congress and has fakies. And she's the one that's like, I have to show my naked body for all these women. You don't have to do that for anybody. You probably just want to because you love showing off your fakies. You know, and everybody, you know, a lot of people probably like them. Some people don't, but it's like she's got a picture next to like Vince Vaughn in like a dress that you'd see like a celebrity wear to the Grammys that's like revealing her fakies. And she's like happy next to it. I'm sure he was, you know, I'm sure he noticed them too. It's like, dang, you're definitely putting him out there in my face a little bit above because he's tall. But, you know, it's like, and then she's like, you know, men tend to not believe women. I've never met a woman telling the truth that says that men don't believe women. Any woman that I've ever known that doesn't lie is like, you know, women lie and men lie. And, you know, I've never met a woman telling the truth that says men don't believe women. Women that tell the truth know that women lie and tell the truth. Like they'll be like, yeah, women lie often and women tell the truth. But like not all women are telling the truth. Women that lie constantly will be like, men don't believe women. That's like me saying something and be like, women don't believe men. You don't believe me because I'm a man. You don't believe me because of my race. You don't believe me because of my religion. You never see me say that because it's just like it's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, she's like acting like a liberal. So what do I think about the Take It Down Act? I don't know. I'm indifferent, I guess. In some ways, I'm sure it's probably good because I don't believe in revenge porn. In other ways, it's probably going to open up a new can of worms with lawsuits and people lying. But, you know, now we're going to have a bunch of women being like, he doesn't believe me. And this is my instinct. I'm not saying but like, okay, I'm not a perfect person, right? We'll get it. We'll get some hoobastank on it. I'm not a perfect person. I'm many things I feel. I'm not perfect. With that being said, I've dated people in my past. I probably had since I was like, are we going to count high school too? If we count high school, I've probably had like 7 girlfriends or something, you know, some longer than others, some more serious, 7, 8, 9. I don't know, 10. I'm not really sure. I've never dated anybody that like, I've never had these issues. You know, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I personally think Nancy Mace is like a lunatic, but she's moderately hot, but she's a lunatic, right? Lunatics date other lunatics. Crazy people date other crazy people. People like you meet someone where you are. I'm not saying I never dated anybody bad or that I disagree with, but it's like generally I feel like I don't have these issues because I date people that I tolerate. I date people that I like. I date people for the most part that I trust. And sometimes things go wrong. You know what I'm saying? I understand. But it's like, it's always people that are like, my ex-boyfriend sucks. My ex-husband's a lunatic. My ex-boyfriend sucks. My new boyfriend sucks. Do you also suck? You know, is that possible or no? Are we not allowed to say that? You're the victim always, and you always just have a great choice in men and women. Like, is there no personal accountability? Everybody I've ever met is like, my ex is crazy. My new boyfriend's crazy. He did this. He did that. Were there no signs of that beforehand? Like you didn't know? Or maybe you have low standards. Maybe you have bad taste. Maybe you're also crazy and the only person that wants to date you is also crazy. Like, you know, when you're crazy, someone like me is like, yeah, I don't want to date you. You know, I don't have the time for this stress and drama in my life because I don't have that. And then other people that like stress and drama and crazy situations, they date someone crazy. And they're like, well, yeah, but he had a motorcycle and tattoos. I thought it would be great. It's like, cool. You know, I'm sure you did. So there are women and men who get victimized and they are victims in bad relationships. But I would say at least 70% of the time, 80% of the time, people who do this stuff are also the problem. They just don't want to admit it. And the only reason I suspect that with She Who Must Not Be Named is not because she said something, not because we disagree on policy, and not because I don't like women or whatever. It's because when she made the post, I read it thinking she got recorded by some guy in a hotel that she'd never met or someone that she never knew. And I'm like, holy crap, that's crazy. Nowhere in the post that I read did it say it was her fiance, her ex-fiance. Like, it's almost like she concealed that information to make it seem like, to make me believe her more, where it's like, if I just say it's some random dude doing this, then most people will believe me. But then when I found out it was her fiance, I'm like, that changes the whole story. That would be like me saying like, holy crap, there's some random woman in my house. Holy crap, they broke into my house. This woman broke into my house and they took this thing from me. And then it's like later, I'm like, oh, that was like my fiance, my ex-fiance who I broke up with a week ago, who took back the thing that I bought her. Like, I'm not saying it's not theft. I don't know who owned it, but it changes the story dramatically from random break-in from random woman to ex-girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you conceal that information unless you're trying to mislead people? That's my opinion. You know, I don't know. That's my opinion. I probably shouldn't have shared it, but, and like I said too, it's like, to be like, I need to show my naked body. That's the goofiest thing I've ever seen in my life. AOC doesn't wear revealing clothing. Nancy Mace does all the time, which is, I don't care. But then it's like, I need to show my naked body. Like, imagine if AOC did that. I need to show my naked body to Congress in order to fight the criminals. You definitely don't have to do that. And here's another thing too. I believe in the court of law. She goes, he's never been charged. Why? Have you never sued a law? Like, why are you bringing this up in Congress and not in court? Maybe, I don't know if she brought it to court or not, but it's like, if you're telling everybody on Twitter that it's just some random guy, and then you bring it to court and it's like your ex-fiance that you have a whole relationship with, maybe they decided that he wasn't guilty, or maybe she never brought him to court. I don't know, and I don't care, but it's like, if he's really as bad as you say, bring him to court. If you're losing in court, maybe the judge is corrupt, or maybe you're just another lying or exaggerating person. I don't know. I'm not a judge, but that's my unprofessional opinion from seeing what she does. And not all women do that. It's like, women that are annoying will do stuff like that. The most annoying women will be like, all men suck. And it's like, I've never met a woman that like has a husband or a boyfriend or is single and is cool and desirable that says all men suck. Vice versa. I've never seen a guy have you ever seen me say that? I've never said that. There's people online, like in the manosphere and in the right, that are like, women are this, women are that. There are a lot of things, and so are men, but it's like, I don't put the blame on women. It's like, I'm a man, so I should rise to the level and take care of business. Like, I don't view women that way. Like, yeah, there's some annoying women. I don't know that they should be like security guards and stuff when they're getting like overpowered by men, and they're certainly not as good at basketball, but Caitlin Carr's fun to watch. Like, I'm not against women, and you never hear me like talk about it, because I like women, and historically they don't have a problem with me. So it's like, I put off a certain energy, I get a certain energy back, and it's never been an issue. It's always the men and women who complain a lot. They're usually responsible. You'll never find a man or a woman that is like in the right that constantly complains about their ex on Instagram. If I see a woman on Instagram being like, my ex, I think, crazy. She's going to do that to you. Stay away. You know what I'm saying? If I see a guy doing that, dude, you're a grown man crying about your ex. Go find a new girl. You know what I'm saying? Go find a new woman. Go find a new wife or a girlfriend or whatever. Like, why are you crying? Like, if you're crying on Instagram all day about your ex, that just shows me that you bear some responsibility. You're probably crazy and you can't move on. You're like living in the past, which is going to destroy your present moment relationships. And it's just like weird, Have you ever heard me once complain about an ex-girlfriend on here? Ever? Never. People don't even know what I'm doing. Like, who are you doing this? Who are you doing? I don't share it because it's not important and it's not relevant. But also, I'm far from it now. But like, I'm hoping to get married when I meet the right person, and I don't even know if I'm going to share that. Like, I know if I share a wedding picture, I'll get a bunch of views and likes and stuff. But like, I like the idea of not even telling people, like getting married for my family and then, not even telling anybody, like I don't, or being like, I got married. Like, I don't see the value of like sharing that all the time. I don't know. It would seem maybe like an extra burden where it's like, does everyone need to see my life all the time? I don't know. Maybe not. In the day of social media, some people are like family influencers. So it's like, you see their family and stuff because that's their content, or like they get a lot of clicks on it. I don't know. Someone said, I had this girl try to impress me and then she talked about her ex being an abuser. I turned away fast. It's possible that some people get in bad relationships, but I do find that, like, I don't know. I like to, like, question it a lot, like, as far as, like, tell me about it, and then, like, when someone tells you the story, you could usually tell if they're exaggerating or if they're in the wrong at all. Like, someone will be like, "This is what happened in business," and I'm like, "Explain it to me." And sometimes it's like I could tell my friend's kind of in the wrong when he explains it to me, or, like, he's not, necessarily in the right. But, yeah, I don't know. Someone said, "I'm married, 18 happy years." Sorry. I don't know what that means. Oh, sorry, not so. You said you're talking to somebody else. Remember, y'all, God tells us to renew our mind daily because we're being brainwashed by everything. Brainwash yourself instead. I got you. Um, Family is the F word in today's society. Well, they're purposely breaking down this family and breaking down cultures and nations. Like, that's a purposeful, it's purposeful. And the more you figure out why it's happening and who's doing it, the more they're going to call you names and try to censor you. And it's not to play a victim, because nobody can do anything to you that you don't accept yourself. So it's like, this all changes when people peacefully just awaken to it. But that's what everything else is for. Everything else is for the constant fight, because then if you're running circles around other things, you can't really get to the bottom of the story, in my opinion. All right, I'll read a few more and then I'm gonna take off. This was a live stream. I haven't done one in a while, long one. Next week I'm gonna have a day where I'm gonna film a few news reports. I don't know exactly what yet, but I'm gonna make them like higher quality camera, better edits, and just like my good like 15-20 minute report videos. I'm working on a few of those next week. Someone said, she isn't the prize. Anomaly doesn't want to sound geekless, so he overlooks feminist BF. She isn't the prize. Your legacy is her life's honor. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I think, everyone's life has two parts to it. It's like, one, who are you and what legacy have you built? But also, I think your legacy includes like your children. You know what I'm saying? So, as a man who's accomplished a lot in my life, I'm just going to be honest now, because I always am. And it's what I do. But, I've accomplished a lot in my life, like things that a lot of people go for, but I feel like I do feel incomplete without a family and children. So it's like I'm at the age now, I want a family and children to really feel complete. So I know guys who have a wife and have kids, but they feel like they're incomplete because they feel like they haven't done enough and they're overachieving, in their personal life. And then I know people that it's like they don't have kids and they feel fine about it. I mean, anybody could feel the way they want, but it's like I do think as a man, I've accomplished, I'm not going to say I'm done, because I have a very high, expectations for myself and very, very lofty goals, but I'm not going to sit and say I feel complete because I've accomplished things with music and politics. I feel like I'll feel a lot more complete when I have a wife and kids, but I want to choose the right ones. It could ruin my life if I choose the wrong wife. It could ruin my life if I get a divorce, and I don't want to do that. So I don't know what it is. Like recently, maybe I need to go out more and stuff, but the world is just so weird now, where it's like everybody spends their time on the internet. The best way to meet people usually is like at a bar, but then you're meeting somebody who goes to a bar. I mean, I guess you can at the gym and stuff, but it's like, I guess traditionally in my life, I found women that were closer to what I wanted, but I never thought about marriage. And the last year or so, like I had a relationship a couple years ago and I really liked the person, and I unfortunately came to the conclusion that like I didn't want to marry the person, and it was sad, but I was like, I dated them for a year or two, then I broke it off because I was like, this is not the right person, and I knew deep down in my heart that I just didn't want to marry them, and I was like, this is not it. Since then I've been single for a couple years. I've dated a little here and there. I don't know if I just have high standards for myself. Like when I was in my 20s and stuff, to be honest, I always had high standards. I never had like low standards. I think like if you looked at my girlfriends in high school and if you looked at my girlfriends in college, like I don't think you'd be like Anomaly was dating some uggos. Like I think in college my girlfriend was super beautiful, But in general, it's like I've always had high standards for myself, but now I think I maybe even have higher standards of what I want and what I don't want. So it's like the pool is small, like if I was just down to date anybody, the pool's massive. It's easy to get a girlfriend, but it's like, first of all, I want somebody that is in shape. I mean, that's like half the population gone. Sorry, it's just true. then it's like, I don't really want to date somebody like liberal, no offense, but it's like, unless they're willing to like think about stuff, that's like more than half of women. Most women are Democrats. So then that's more than half the population. I don't want to, no offense, but I don't even want to date like a normie Republican where they're like Charlie Kirk, boomered out. They watch like Sean Hannity. Like, that's really not appealing to me. I don't want to date a Republican feminist who's like, I want to be a career person too. I mean, you could work. I'm not knocking a job, but it's like, ideally, I want to have children and I'll work. You don't have to pay for anything. And, that's what I want. If you don't want that, that's fine. So it's like, and then everybody's on apps and stuff. It's like, dude, the pool is a lot lower than it used to be. And it's small if you have high standards. So, it is what it is. But I also think, like, I'm not trying to be rude, because I think with men too, I think most men don't mature till their 30s, in their like in my 20s, I was a horrible boyfriend. I'm not saying I was like mean to my girlfriend or anything, but I wasn't a man. So I could assume I was not, like, I feel like I had potential, but I wasn't like the full package. Apology to my girlfriends in my 20s. Like, I was a cool guy, but I definitely wasn't like mature. In my 30s, I'm definitely a better everything now. But it's like girls in their 20s now, they don't want to settle down for the most part. They want to do all this stuff. They want to wait till their 30s. And then in their 30s, they're chasing what they had in their 20s, but they can't quite get it in some cases. And then it's like they hit their 30s, their late 30s, and then it's like they remember what they could get in their 20s or what they wanted in their 20s. And then, hopefully they find a guy and have kids and whatever. And it's like the cycle's all messed up, where it's like guys are not maturing fast enough. Girls are trying to be feminists and career women and act like their 20s aren't real. Like, I'm not telling people you can get married in your 30s, you can get married in your 40s, 50s. I don't care. But it's like, I think the 20s are really a good time, but like women and men are not ready. Men are not men, and women don't want to, So it's like, now we're at this stronghold where everybody's like 10 years behind. And then it's like, for me, it's like, I want to have a bunch of kids. So it's like, it would make sense to get somebody that can have a bunch of kids and you don't have to like super rush into, because men and women are on different biological clocks. But it's like, then it's not everybody wants that or wishes that. So it's like the whole game has been screwed up. And I think, talking about what I talked about earlier, this is the same dynamic as what I was talking about with race and nations. Like, they tell us in class, like, everything used to be bad and now everything's good because we beat up the racists and we beat up the sexists and we beat up the xenophobes and we beat up all the supremacists, and now we live in a diverse, feminist society, and that's better for you. And it's like, that's the story they told you, because the victors get to write history. So they get to tell you that every world war beat up the bad guys and now the good guys thrived and the communists won, but we're not communists, but we kind of are. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. But when you go back, it's like, in my opinion, I'm sorry if this bothers some women or men, but I think that all waves of feminism were a lie. Even the first one. They'll always say, well, the second one and the third one were really bad, but the first one was good. I mean, you could say that, but the first one led to the second and the third one. And they convince people that like women love working so much. It's like, women don't like working that much, just like men don't like working that much. But it's like, now I get to work a 9 to 5. Yeah, because they needed you for the factory, because they sent the men to die in the war for bankers. They didn't say, let's let women work so they can be empowered. That was not why they did it. They said, men are dying for the bankers, put the women in the factories so we don't lose money. It's like, that's why that happened. And it's like, and then it evolved into all this. And I'm not saying women can't have jobs or are incompetent. There's some jobs that I think women would be happy and thrive in, but now the whole cycle's done. It's like, it's like the whole cycle's been cooked, and I'm fine with people doing what they want. I'm not trying to stop someone's free will, but it's like, now you have the situation where women don't look at their 20s for marriage. Men are not ready for marriage in their 20s. Like, I didn't even think about it. Like, also, my parents got divorced in my 20s. So they told me, wait till your 30s. Like, you're not going to be mature enough in their 20s. And to be honest, they were right. Like, I don't know that it's the greatest advice, because like 20s are a good time to get married. But the truth is, I probably would have ended up in a divorce in my 20s too. I wasn't ready. I wasn't a man. I had no money. I don't think I would have done a good job in my 20s, to be fair. But it's like, I didn't even think about this till my 30s. And most women don't. Like, I've seen so many women in their 20s, they're liberal. In their 20s, they're doing stuff like OnlyFans. And then in their 30s, they find Jesus and then they get married at like 39 and 38 to some guy because they didn't think about it in their 20s. And it's like, it's not mean to tell somebody like, and it's not to shame someone. Like in an ideal world, I would have been married when I was 21 and had like 20 kids, but I'm not living in an ideal world. So just like I'm not shaming women, I'm not shaming myself. Like we're all playing with the cards we were dealt. But like, it's not mean to tell a woman this stuff because most women who get married in their late 30s, early 40s or 30s, they'll be like, I wish I would have known that in my 20s. You know, I wish I didn't do that in my 20s. Not all, but that's how they feel. And same with me. But it's like, this is the world we live in. It's important not to shame men or women because it's not our faults. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's why I don't like people who like bully people where they're like, oh, women, you're a loser, you're this and that. And it's like, it's a corny like manosphere thing to do to act tough and stuff. And it's kind of funny, but it's like, you can get that same message across and be thoughtful about it because it's the truth. It's like that woman was misled by the media, by her teachers, by the man. And if you're a man, if you're a godly man or a man in general, you know that a man plays a certain role over, like, I don't blame a kid if they do something like that. They're 5 years old. Like, no, it's their parents' fault. Like whoever's watching them is not doing a good job, in my opinion. It's like, you don't blame the kid. And I'm not saying a woman is a child, but it's like, I think, you know, a woman growing up hitting their 20s and stuff, it's like they're a product of what they learned. They're a product of their father and their mother and the men in school. Like I do blame the man more than the woman because I believe in the biblical God, man, woman dynamic to things. And everyone plays a role, not to say someone's superior because every part matters and women are just as important and powerful as men, but they're not as good at basketball. They're not as good at chess. They're not as good at almost any topic like that. Like, you know, billiards, I heard a transgender person won billiards. It's not really that physical of a game. It doesn't take strength. How come men are better at billiards than women? I don't know. Ask God, ask society. Like why, you know, they'll tell you in school, they'll say it's because women weren't taught this and that. You give men and women the same teaching in billiards, men are still going to dominate. Chess, same thing. Pilots, same thing. Basketball, same thing. It doesn't matter how much training you give Caitlin Clark, she's not going to beat LeBron. Like this is the reality of nature. It's biblical. It's God, man, woman. It's everyone's playing a role. If you teach a woman that what makes her amazing is not the fact that she could be a mother and have a child, what makes her amazing is putting on a suit and being at work, then she's going to be 39 and not be able to have children. So I'm not saying it's the only thing a woman's good at. I've met women who know more than me. I've met women who are intellectual, philosophical, well-studied, great at a million things. I'm not trying to say women aren't good at stuff because they are. But it's like, it's just the natural role where it's like, you know, some of the most powerful men in human history, their woman was so important to them. Like, it's not like their woman's like, oh, you're just a baby maker, go away. No, make babies, also cook, also help, but also, you know, that's your right-hand woman. That's your woman. That's your, you know, you talk to them about things. They influence your strategy. You know what I'm saying? Like a woman plays a role. She, in some cases, has even more leverage than a guy. It's just, understanding the differences is important. Like I could pretend like I can have a kid and a woman can pretend like it doesn't matter, but it's just not true. So all these traditional things in history, they teach us we've made all the right decisions. And the truth is we haven't. And the truth is we've made a lot of really wrong decisions and it's affecting the current society. So it's not to blame people, but it's like, it's definitely a tougher market to not only date and marry in, but it's a tougher market to stay together in. And I think you need to find somebody that really believes the same things you believe in God and marriage and what it means. And also like someone that's in it for the long haul, because someone that gives up on you in a year or two, you know, then now you gotta be older and find someone new. Like, dude, it's all crazy. But even in my 20s, it's like to find a woman in my 20s, if I try to get married, like, dude, it's hard to find a woman who like is ready to marry and is mature enough to like actually want to be a mom and not like leave or do like something else. Like I dated someone a couple years ago and like, I don't know. It's like they weren't really ready for that. Or maybe I wasn't. I don't know. I'm going to just move on. But someone said women can do a lot in balanced relationship if they're healthy in the mind and not listening to their friends and trying to fit in. Of course. Yeah. I mean, anytime you see a woman, she's like, my friend told me this. It's like, ew, you know, I really like you, but my friend wants me to walk over here. Yeah. Your friend wants you to walk over there because she's a little large and, you know, she doesn't want you to have fun because she's jealous of you. I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's like, it's like, who are your friends? Are your friends Aristotle and like Margaret Thatcher, or your friends just like drinking Corona, listening to Bad Bunny? Like, who are these friends that you're getting advice from? Did your friend win Jeopardy, or is your friend going to get wasted and go home with a 3 across the bar? It's like, it's not my fault. Someone said a real woman is very beautiful, but they're rare. I mean, I think there's a lot of beautiful women out there. I think it's just hard to meet. I just think it's harder to meet people nowadays. I guess like the internet makes it easy, but like, who wants to meet on a dating app or something? Like, you can. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's like, it's back in the day, there was no option of dating apps. So like, it wasn't weird to like do things in person. It was normal because it's like, that's all you had. You know what I'm saying? If you approach somebody in a grocery store, or you approach somebody like in a gym or something, I don't do that at a gym because I feel like it's weird now. Like a hot girl, like guys are approaching her all the time. But like back in the day, it was like, oh, that's how I get courted. Nowadays, it's like, ew, I like this guy on Instagram. Ew, I'm on this dating app. I have Hinge. Like, get away from, you know what I'm saying? It's like, don't talk to me when I'm here. And it's like, there are some weirdo guys though that ruin it for everybody because they're just constantly being like idiots, and they're constantly just flirting with everybody and being like weird and cringe, and they ruin the whole game for everybody. But at the same time, it's just like, the whole energy towards it's different. Like in the 70s and 60s, it's like you would never get mad at a guy because it's like, yeah, that's how a man will court a woman. Like, hey, do you want to hop in my Ford and go to a drive-in diner? And she's like, surely. Nowadays it's like, I'm on Instagram. And it's like, sometimes like I hear what people are talking about too. And I'm like, I wanted to say the other day, I didn't though, but like I was at a pool and there were these guys talking loud and just being annoying. I didn't do it because it would be a super douchey thing to do, but in my head, I wanted to turn around and be like, hey, I'm not complaining that you guys are making a lot of noise because I don't care. I'm complaining that the noise you're making is so cringe and you guys are so annoying that you should just keep it to yourself. Like, that's what I was thinking, because they're like, I got 15 likes. I got 15 likes on my Instagram. I just got 15 likes. Dude, did you see this video? Did you see the dude doing that? It's like, bro, I'm not mad at the noise level. I'm mad at the pure cringe. Like, this is what you and your bro do. Bro, you're not going to hear me and the bro talking about 15 Instagram likes. First of all, it's a couple thousand. But second of all, it's like, I'm going to a couple thousand likes. Like, I got something more interesting to talk about with my friends than like how many likes I got on my stupid Instagram story that nobody cares about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what these people are talking about in their 20s. It's like, yeah. What do you want? I'm I got all these great things going for me. I'm athletic. I'm this and that. Oh no, you just want to go to an EDM concert? Got you. Okay. Sorry, I didn't go to EDC this year. My bad. I'm a loser. It's like, I do my own shows in front of crowds. Oh, that's not cool enough. No, I gotta go to Coachella. Just kidding. Someone said, anomaly, approach a lady you like, wait and watch a while. You're not creepy. No, I'm not creepy. I'm very smooth in person as well. I'm going to say this. I'm going to do a little humble brag, but I barely go out, right? I went out in Florida. There was a girl across from me. She was like some Swedish chick. She was tall, blonde, beautiful. And I was talking to my friend. I saw her, but like I hadn't seen my friend in a while, so I didn't want to be rude. We were talking to him, etc. I didn't know when I was going to make my move. She just came right up to me and started talking to me. And she was just like, she started talking. I started quizzing her with trivia questions because that's what I do now. And my friends probably thought I was talking about something so cool, but I was like, I'm going to just play trivia with this girl. She loved it, but she came right up to me. It's like, I didn't even have to do anything. She came right up to me. She's like, why didn't you talk to me? I was like, I don't know. Better. Then I don't have to be weird. They just come right up. That was like the perfect situation. I was like, I gotta go. I don't go out enough. I was like, I guess maybe this will happen to me more if I go out, but I feel like that was awesome. That was a good night. But I don't know, different state, hard, long distance isn't necessarily. She didn't know who I was. Not to brag again, but the guy who ran the entire bar knew who I was, and he was giving us free drinks all night, which was cool. And this guy was awesome. He was like, dude, I love your videos. He looked like he was like huge. He looked almost like Samoan. He wasn't, but like, I thought he was just like a bouncer, not to stereotype, but he just looked like the type of jack dude that would knock somebody out of a bar. And he came up to me. He was like, bro, I love your videos, this and that. I was like, thanks, my guy. And he kept giving me free drinks. And I was like, what do you do? I'm just curious. I don't know. And he was like, oh, I manage this. I own this bar. I was like, that's awesome. So she didn't know who I was, but he did. And he was just like hooking it up all night. Made me look extra cool too. Cause she was like, I want to go buy a drink. I was like, my guy is like, and then he just gave us drinks. It was pretty gangster, but someone said you cut out for a bit. Oh, sorry. Oh, well. Did my story just go to the wayside? They cut me off. That's fine. They didn't want me to brag about myself. That was my humbling. But what kind of trivia? Just general. I mean, I want to be on Jeopardy one day, so I need to learn everything. So I was just kind of asking questions and stuff. She was really smart too. She knew a lot. So that was impressive. I was like, I'm listening. It's fine. I don't even remember what I was talking about. It's all good. If it cut out, it just wasn't meant to be. I don't think it was the most important part of my live stream anyway. Someone said, love is self-sacrifice. Christ is the example. Yeah, but for someone like me, I get it, and I'm not trying to knock it, but how tall was she? I don't know. I'm tall. I'm like 6'3", so I like 5'10", 5'9", maybe 5'10". I can't tell, but she was definitely like tall for a girl. Someone said love is self-sacrifice. Absolutely, but you want to sacrifice for the right person. You don't want to like sacrifice your love and then marry the wrong person, At least that's what I think. Like it's not how it used to be. So you really need to make sure you're aligned with the person, because back in the day, it's like, yeah, you don't divorce. It's not even a thing. Now, because of divorce lawyers in modern society, everyone's divorcing. So it's like, and just sometimes it happens. It's like, you don't want to like, I don't want to do that, but also I don't want to be single my whole life. So, one thing that Patrick Bet-David said that I thought was really true. Patrick tweeted something or posted something. He said, not like marrying and having kids is one of the riskiest things you'll ever do, but not having kids and not getting married is even riskier. And I agree with him. I think that's a really smart thing that he said. Because it's like, yeah, it is risky to get married. It is risky to have kids, but it's also risky to not do that. I think that's like a smart talking thing that he had. Someone said, damn, was she trying to have blank with you for free though? Well, my rates no, I'm just kidding. I don't charge, but I mean, no comment on that. That's funny though. I like that. Was she a Tesla? Yeah, I make love to Teslas, dude. I just go out and I start making out with Tesla cars just because I like Trump and Elon so much. I'm like, ooh, the liberals hate. No, was she a Tesla? Are you suggesting that the only woman I could get is in the form of an electric car? Because that's really offensive. And in 15 states, that is a hate crime. So I would tone down the hateful rhetoric about me. But that's funny, I guess. Well, the first thing was funnier. That wasn't that funny, but I made it funny for you. Obviously, I said that earlier. You missed a part. I missed a lot of things. They kicked me off my own live stream, so who knows what was and wasn't said, but it is what it is. I'm getting tired of sitting down. It's been 2 hours and 41 minutes. I want to get up and stretch. Let's end on a good note. Elon released the Optimus robot. Yeah, he's saying that it's going to take over in a couple years, but maybe it will. I don't know. Dude, I'm not a big fan of the robots. Even AI, like I watch YouTube videos and I realized I was watching some AI YouTube videos and it made me feel weird because sometimes in my spare time, I've been watching like just sports videos. They'll be like, like 10 cool things about Nikola Jokic or, people that got kicked out of the NBA, people that got kicked out of the UFC, just random stuff in my free time to like pass the time, like I'm just like learning random things about sports that I'll never need to know. And the one I was watching was talking about the 76ers, and it goes, the Philadelphia 76 ERs. I was like, did it just do a hard ER on the 76er? That's racist. But why did that happen? Why did that thing show up? Anyway, what I don't know why that bubble just popped up on my feed. But anyway, I didn't even put a thumb up, or maybe I did. Anyway, it said 76 ER, which showed me that it was an AI voice that sounded realistic. And I'm thinking to myself, how many of these videos are AI that I'm listening to? Probably a lot of them. So now I don't want to listen to them anymore because I don't want to listen to AI. Like I don't know. It's like that's my entertainment now. I'm listening to AI. I'd rather watch television. At least it's somewhat real. So something feels off about it. I don't like it. I don't know that I like the AI music programs. Like it's all I'm not a fan. Thumbs up keeps popping up. I thought you were doing that. No, I think it's like when you put your thumb up. Sorry. When you put your thumb up, it does it sometimes. I'm trying to make it do it. It's not working. I don't know how it did. Usually it does it when you put your thumb up or you like no, I don't know. I can do like reaction things, but I don't know how to do that. I can do this though. All right. Rob Gone Sailing said a yacht is cheaper than a divorce prenup. Bro, I would hate to get sued for half my money. That would be like the worst thing. I feel bad for guys. Well, I guess maybe you're not the victim. I don't know, but it's like having to go through a lawsuit and then your ex-wife is like, I want the yacht. And you're like, but Jennifer, you cheated on me. I want it anyway. I'm going to win in court. You're like, dang. No, I don't know if that's how it happens, but I have a feeling divorce court is just awful. And I would guess that I know that women get favored in divorce court, not playing the victim as men, but I've heard that. Someone said, I'm going back to watch Black Mirror. It's scary world stuff. That was an interesting show that definitely had some realistic stuff. It's like a 1984 type of show where they're doing like realistic things that are probably going to happen. That's all the cheering for today's stream. I don't know why I did that. I thought maybe like a thumbs up would come up, but thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. Britney Spears' ex-husband took half too. Did he? Which one? Kevin Federline or the new one? I'm not really sure. Dude, Britney Spears has the best Instagram videos. Her edits are like, they're always like changing every second. She's like, and then they're like shifting. And it's like, it's not dancing that's weird, but something is weird about what she's doing. My one buddy brought it to me and he's like, it's not that weird. And I watched it and I was like, it kind of is though. Like, it's not the fact that she's dancing and having fun. All girls like to do that, or some girls, not all girls, but it's the fact that some guys do too. Is that how to be cool? Like as a guy now, like when I was young, it's like music or sports or like something cool. Nowadays, you just have to be like a skinny guy and you got to be like, and they're like, oh my gosh, he's so cool. And you're like, I must be getting old because I get it. Dancing is cool, but I don't know. It's like these little like dances. They always have like a heart symbol and there's like grown men. They're like heart, 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 dance, dance. And and like, is that what an alpha man is to the younger generation? I'm with the boomers on this one. Finally, me and the boomers are back on the same page. We're like, you dang youngins, what the hell are you doing out there? Someone told me like about socks recently. They're like, dude, those type of socks are like the younger generation doesn't like short socks. They like long socks now. I was like, is that really a thing? Like, I don't like, first of all, I don't need fashion advice, right? Like when I dress up, when I go out, when I actually try, I have good fashion. I think I have a slick style when I actually care. Most days I just want to go to the gym and stuff. So I don't really care. But, it's like, I don't need sock advice from like a 21-year-old who dances with like a TikTok, heart thing. It's like, what? They get to decide, in my professional fashion opinion, very professional, someone cool can make long or short socks cool. There's no such thing as short socks are out of style. No, long socks are in style. Long socks and short socks can be cool with the right outfit. Like you should be able to pull off a dress outfit with really long socks and roll your pants up, or have no socks and make it look cool too. Like it's not, the sock does not make the man makes the sock. Okay. It's Aristotle. Ankle socks only, bro. I'm not going to be bullied on what socks I wear. Okay. I'm not that old yet. I'll be that old probably in like 10, 15 years. But right now I'm not getting bullied by socks. Someone said very few young people dance like that, dance in public. Hardly ever see that 5, 23, 25 dance. Used to be a lot of fun when I was young. I mean, we did the Macarena when I was growing up, that all the adults were doing the Macarena. I get it. But the thing is, like, we just weren't recording ourselves doing it like on TikTok. But I get it. It's like if you're if you're a young, charming fellow, you want to dance to get attention, and people like you based on how you look. I think that's like, say like a hot girl dances, like if they do that little cute dance, like it's only cool if you think the girl's attractive. Like if some like 22-year-old girl that's like disgusting to you is like doing the heart thing, you're like, it's kind of rude, but it's kind of true. It's like, if you can dance, like if you could break dance or do some sort of like impressive actual dance, then it doesn't matter how fat or small you are. Like it's impressive. I'm like, wow, this is an amazing dance. I love this dance. You know what I'm saying? But if you're doing that, that's not like real dancing. Like anyone can do that if they just practice for 2 hours. So it's basically just a way to market yourself to the world. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I look like this, and this is my way of getting attention. Unless you're really dancing. If you're really dancing, doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter anyway, but I'm just saying, like, you only see like, you only see people that want to show themselves off doing those little dances. Like you don't see like a one being like, I need you now more than that. They're like, what is that? The Mario? You're breaking like a freaking question mark above your head or something. Like, what is that? It's like you're jumping for joy. I get it. I mean, MC Hammer dance, Macarena. I remember when I was young, they did the boot scoop boogie, but Cotton Eye Joe. Now, if you go on a cruise, they do like the wobble. They're like wobble, 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 wobble. And everyone's like, I wobble. I wobble too. I got to do it on a cruise. You got to join in. The cha-cha slide has stood the test of time. Everybody still does that. That came out when I was a kid. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, clap. But we don't like record ourselves doing it. Do we? I don't know. Some people do. I was on a cruise one time and the guy was recording like hours on the dance floor. And it's like, bro, a simple 5 to 10 minutes would be enough. You know what I'm saying? Like he recorded over an hour of dancing. Like he kept doing it and like getting me in it and stuff. And I don't mind being in this guy's video. Like I'm not self-conscious, but it's just like, on what planet do you need an hour and a half of a cruise boat dancing? Like we're not the most impressive people here. In fact, quite the opposite. We're a very diverse group of weirdos on this cruise boat, and we all come together liking cruises. But it's like, if you have a YouTube channel, 15 minutes is enough, bro. If you're doing it for Instagram or TikTok, 5 minutes will suffice maximum, and you could choose your favorite minute. I guarantee this guy has no followers anyway. It's like you have to record everyone for an hour. What are you, live streaming? You're live streaming this dance floor? It's like some people, they don't know how to live in the moment anymore. You got to like you're on a cruise boat live streaming a freaking dance party. Dude, nobody wants to see this. Half the people here don't even really want to be here. I do. I'm having fun, but it's just like, what are you doing? Someone said I have 2 cruises planned. I love cruises, but the reason I fasted yesterday is because cruise food is not good and there's a lot of it. So I'm pretty sure I gained weight on my cruise. In fact, I know I did. So I got back and I was like, I got to get back in shape. If I'm going to be talking about American fitness, I can't be another fatty here. The Humpty Dumpty dance is your dance. I'm not that old. I don't like, older people would be like, remember the Humpty Dumpty? And I would be like, no. I'm not that old. I'm not Humpty Dumpty dance old. I wasn't born when that dance was alive, or I was too young to care. I'm like cha-cha slide old. I'm like Watch Me Dougie old. I'm like Wale No Hands playing at the club, in college old. I'm definitely like when I was 5 dancing to like Cotton Eye Joe at a country club. My mom dressed me up like a cowboy. I was dancing to Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah, been to Cotton Eye Joe. I'm that old. I'm not Humpty Dumpty old. I'm not even MC Hammer old. I'm not I'm trying to think what else y'all were doing then. I like the Bee Gees, but I'm not Bee Gees old. I wish I was. I definitely like that music. Fizz dance, that was the thing, but I don't remember that. The Harlem Shake, I remember that. The Dougie. I never liked the dance trends, even when I was like in college and stuff. I always thought it was like kind of cringe, but the Harlem Shake was funny, I think, because everybody froze. And was that the one where everyone was like paused and then they danced at the end? I thought that one was cool. I'm not a boomer. I'm a millennial, okay? I'm a millennial. I'm lazy. I'm entitled. I think the world owes me everything. I don't want to work. I want to wear gym shorts every day and sandals. I want to work a remote job by the pool. I'm a damn millennial. Get it right, you Zoomer. Get it right, you Gen Xer, you Gen Z, you boomers here trying to dunk on a hardworking millennial. I'm a millennial. And what I want to do is not work hard to work hard. I want to change the world by sitting by the pool on a Zoom call. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's freedom. That's democracy. That's what we fought these world wars for. That's what the fifth wave of feminism's for. So I could stream on my Hulu app and watch The Office by my pool. Is The Office on Hulu? Probably not. I'm just winging it. I don't know which shows are on which app. You're a Zoomer X. You're a boomer if you don't know the Humpty Dance. The Humpty Dance is for the generation before me. What generation's before millennials? Whatever generation you are, you did the Humpty Dance, okay? Not me, okay? What generation? What generation is before millennial? Generation X, the lost generation, the one that everybody forgets about. You did the Humpty Dance, okay? That's typical Gen X though. Gen X, like, they feel left out because they're not boomers, right? Boomers don't like them because it's just like whatever. They're not whatever came after boomers. Maybe they are. I'm getting it wrong. They're definitely not millennials. You guys don't quite fit in with us. You're close, but you don't quite fit in. You're not a Zoomer. You're not any of these generations. You're not doing TikTok dances. You just want to talk about the Humpty Dance. And that's the problem with Gen X. It's like, remember the Humpty Dance? And then I say no. And you're like, yeah, you wish I remembered it because you want to fit in. You want me to like what you liked in the 80s. You're like, wasn't Take On Me by Aha your favorite song? I do like that song. Actually, I love that song, but I don't remember it coming out because I was born in 89. So, that's on you. I'm close. I'm 89. I'm damn close to being a Gen Xer. Not quite. Let me see. Hopefully I'm not a Gen Xer. That would be sad. When did Gen X end? Please tell me I'm not. Oh, around 1980, 1981. And then we, the superior millennials, took over from 1981 to 1996. Yeah, we don't do the Humpty Dance. We read Humpty Dumpty as a kid. We never wanted to turn it into a dance. We're like, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And it was your generation that like just got bored. And back in the day, no offense, but we also have better rap music. Back in the day, the rap was like, I sat on a bike. I went for a kite. I flew my kite mighty, mighty, mighty high. And you guys were like, that's the greatest rap I've ever heard. And then they're like, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty, Humpty Dumpty dance. And you're like, dude, this is sick. And then like we came out and we were like, hey, Macarena. Oh, Macarena, then a minute. Come on, dude. The Macarena slide. No disrespect to the forefathers of rap before me. I apologize. Because I know even my friends who like rap, they love the Humpty Dance as well. I'm not trying to disrespect, but let's be honest. Humpty Dumpty dance versus the Macarena? Dude, think about it. On Macarena, then a minute, Macarena, when did the fall on me, Casamina? On Macarena. Dude, crushes the Humpty Dance. I don't even know what they're saying. They could be talking trash about me. They could be like, you gringos, we don't like you. Your food sucks. It's not seasoned. You're mean to us. Like it could be something else. They could be hating, I don't know what they're saying, but it just sounds so cool. And you got to get the end part right. If you want to do the Macarena right, you got to. It sounds like a chant. I felt like I'm watching Legends of the Hidden Temple when the Macarena came on. Like you felt connected to the forefathers you didn't even know you had when that song came on. It was like, hey, Macarena. You got to do the. Like, come on, that's fire. There was none of that. You don't have that in the Humpty Dumpty dance. Like, Humpty Dumpty had a fall. Humpty Dumpty on a great wall. Everybody sit around for the Humpty Dumpty dance. And you guys are like, dude, this rap crushes. And then it's like, I went to the beach. I had myself a feast. I took my bread and my bread had yeast. And you're like, dude, that rhyme was killer, dude. And then like my generation had like Big L and people who could like rap like really fast. And then they just changed the game. You know what I'm saying? In the 90s, they started doing like triple syllables and stuff. And you're like, it's not as good as that one. It's like, dude, it's not even in the same ballpark. Like old rap, they're rhyming one word. Like Dr. Seuss had, and I'm not talking about the legends. Like Slick Rick, and there's fire people from the 80s. Don't get it twisted. There's people who paved the way for me. I'm not trying to disrespect the forefathers, but the average song in the 80s sucked. And then in the 90s and 2000s, rap got way better. It got more complex. And then they flooded it with like drug and crime music because they wanted us to kill everybody. But like, before the executives like flooded it with gangster crime music, I get that the 80s was more wholesome. The 90s were cool too, but then the executives were like, yeah, we want people to die of pills and murder. So why don't you do like gang pill talk, But there was a space between that where it was fire and better than the Humpty Dumpty dance. Women love to do the Macarena. Yeah, because it was the perfect combination of like, okay, I'm not being like slutty. I'm like, nowadays you're like, ew, you're like, shake my titty. It's like nowadays there's no mystery anymore. Someone said, I saw a viral clip where someone's like, a woman was like, no guy likes lingerie anymore. And the guy responded was like, yeah, because we see you wearing it at the gym. Like, it's not special anymore. Everybody wears lingerie everywhere you go. You go to a pool, somebody's got a thong on with their butt crack out. Like, it is what it is. I'm not hating on it. I'm just observing. With that being said, it's like, yeah, lingerie is not as special anymore because there's just titties everywhere all the time and booties everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you log into anything and it's like you walk outside, everybody's just showing everything off. Back in the day, you didn't have these slutty dances where everyone's like twerking. They're like, I'm twerking. You're like, okay, I'm working. I have a job. But back in the day, the Macarena was that perfect mix of like, I'm being humble. There's nothing too slutty about this. I'm just grabbing I'm grabbing my butt. Oh, I'm shaking it. Oh, I'm back to this. It was it was like lingerie. It was the perfect amount of like, I'm not being freaky, but I'm just letting you know I could if I needed to. And then you jump to the next side. You're like, dude, I'm just playing with my hands, dude. This could be patty cake. We're just innocent. Oh, where am I going? Oh, nah, it was that perfect amount. Dude, I don't know what they're saying in the Macarena, and I don't care. That's got to be one of the greatest songs ever. The Macarena dance, that song, like when it plays, it barely plays anymore. I'm really getting my millennial out, but when the Macarena plays, I think that every time I'm like, dude, this song is so good. Like, and it's not boring. It's just such a fun song, and it's so cool. I'm like, how did they think of this? And the dance, like, dude, the Macarena is goated. I don't care. And yeah, back in the day, you didn't have like internet porn in your face all the time and OnlyFans. All you really had, I mean, if you weren't some sort of sicko trying to get a Penthouse magazine or a Playboy magazine, all you had was the Macarena. You know what I'm saying? Until pervert Howard Stern came around and tried to put pornography on E! Entertainment, which he did. Now he's a liberal. Now he's just so much better than you, even though he's a freak. But that's all you had was the Macarena. YouTube digital underground Humpty dance. Damn it, man. Listen, I know the Humpty dance was the thing. I'm just joking. Well, I'm not really joking. I do think that, but I don't know it. It's not nostalgic to me. You know what I'm saying? Tamagotchi, nostalgic. Pokemon, nostalgic. Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgic. Jackie Chan Adventures. Uncle, one more thing, Uncle. That's nostalgic. The Humpty Dumpty dance, I'm like, what? No, it's from the past. It's like we didn't do that. We didn't do that around here. But no disrespect to those who did. If it's in your past, that's who you were. That's it plays. It evokes a memory. The dance. It plays. I just watch all the Gen Xers dance to it, and I'm like, what are these losers? No, I'm just kidding. But I'm like, I get it. Different time, different place. 90s was the shit. Dude, I feel bad for the younger generation, and you should have some sympathy too, because everybody just goes around and they're like, life was better when I was a kid. It sucks to be you. And these kids like hate themselves because they're like, dude, everybody just keeps telling me like life sucks for me, like including me. I do the same thing. Like I'll talk to my little brother and be like, yeah, dude, the night, like you had to be there, like I was like, dude, I like the 90s crushing, 2000s crushing. Now it's like, it's all right. It's okay. But everything goes in cycles. They'll be fine. But everybody just tells them, we had the best childhood. You didn't. I like the 90s. 2000s were great too. Like I hit the end of like everything started falling apart like in my late 20s, early 30s. So I got my money's worth. But then in the prime of my life, they're just like lockdown. I'm like, that was pretty corny. But then I turned that into like my greatest career leap, not purposely, but it just was like I stepped up during COVID. So I don't really like have, although I do feel like they stole a few cruises away from me. I'm not mad at it because it's like I rose to the occasion and I made the most of it. But at the same time, they tried to turn me into a slave in like my early 30s. I was like, or like late 20s. I don't remember how old I was then, but I was like, come on. How can he be so obtuse? Are you talking about the Humpty Dumpty song or what? Because we're not going to argue about this. There's no right answer to that. It's really just what you want. It's not Humpty Dumpty. Is it the Humpty Dance? Dude, I know all my older homies like that song, so I know they're going to be mad at me. Humpty Dance. Let's see. The Humpty Dance. Okay, by Digital Underground. I know it's a classic song. I know all the older homies are going to be mad at me. I know it's sacrilegious. I know it's borderline disrespectful. It came out literally 10 months before I was born, but you know, it is what it is. It's just not nostalgic to me because I wasn't born yet. Don't blame me. Blame my entire generation. Someone said I never wore Genkos in high school. I wore, what did you say you wore? Hold on. I wore trips in high school. Someone said this is like saying Led Zeppelin or is nostalgic or Queen. Okay, dude, I'm not trying to be rude because I know the Digital Underground is legendary, but Queen is better than the Humpty song. And also Led Zeppelin's better than the Humpty song. Like, I'm not going to do I have to pretend like that song is on the level of Bohemian Rhapsody? Now I'm a bad guy. Oh yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, Humpty Dance. There's really no difference. It's like, there's a huge difference. Queen is amazing. I liked Queen in high school. I liked Queen in college. I liked Led Zeppelin in high school. I liked Led Zeppelin in college. I wasn't listening to the Humpty Dance because it was outdated. Led Zeppelin, it wasn't outdated. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but that genre, that era of music, while it's epic, it's outdated. It got outdated really fast. Take on Me by Aha did not get outdated, but the Humpty Dance, I'm sorry, it's outdated. It didn't last like Queen and Led Zeppelin or a lot of 80s music for that. And it's not my fault. I'm just being honest about it. It's okay. Where were we going? You said Jenkos. Dude, I wasn't into all that tomfoolery. Some of the kids wore Jenkos. They wanted to show how hood they were. Other kids were wearing skater shoes. Some of the Caucasians, they're like, look, I'm a skater. I'm skating on my shoes. My mom was like, you're not getting those shoes. They're dangerous. I was like, all right, Mom, sorry. You know, she didn't. I don't know if I really wanted them, but I was like, can I get those skate shoes? I feel like she was probably like, nah. Or maybe I didn't want them. I don't know. I played soccer. I was like, I don't know about all this skating with my shoes stuff. But yeah, I wasn't into Jinkos or that, but that's okay. We all had our phases. You rock Jankos in junior high school. I definitely wore baggy shorts. You know, like if you look at the NBA back in the day, they all wore baggy shorts. I mean, if you look at my basketball teams, we wore baggy shorts. It's like they didn't give us like John Stockton shorts. We were like, John Stockton wears small shorts, haha. And then we all wore like baggy shorts. We all thought we were Allen Iverson. Now I don't even think they make shorts that size anymore, which they were never really aerodynamic for, basketball. But it was the 90s. We had to show how alpha we were. You know what I'm saying? I ain't wearing those short shorts. I'm wearing these baggy shorts. I'm a man. They're like, bro, you're 15 years old. It's 2002. I'm like, all right. But I ain't know, that was back when you could make fun of the gays and nobody got mad at you. But it's like, you're like, I'm not gay. Like, that's what everybody said. I'm not gay. I'm not wearing short shorts. I'm no gay. Not that John Stockton was gay. We gave him the pass because he's a top 10 Caucasian of all time. So we're like, John Stockton can wear the shorts because he's so white that it makes sense. But us, nah, we're wearing the baggy shorts. And then all of a sudden, like, they told us to stop making fun of the gays during Obama, or like using the word gay rather. It's like, don't use the word gay that way. All right. And then we did. And 15 years later, they got trannies beating the crap out of people in volleyball. So, whose fault is that? That's not my fault. I was using the word gay in elementary school. I was like, that's gay. That's gay. They're gay. I'm not gay. And then it's like, don't say gay. Don't say gay. It's hateful to the gays. And you're like, how is it hateful to the gays? Like, it's not like we're looking at gay people like, you're a gay. And he starts crying. Like, you're calling someone else gay that's not gay. It's like calling a woman a man. If you call a woman a man, it's not hateful because men are bad. It's hateful. It's mean because she's a woman. And it's like, if you're calling a straight person a gay, it's mean because they don't want to be gay. I'm just relaying the information. I didn't make these rules. I'm just letting you know. And then they told us, don't talk about the gays. Don't rap about the gays. Don't talk about gay. Obama's going to, pander to the gays. And everyone was like, all right, okay, whatever. We don't care. It's America. We get it. 10 years later, you got transgender swimmers. You got transgender politicians. You got, the track race is won by a person who was a guy 2 years ago. And it's like, okay. And now saying the word gay is coming back because, that's, I don't know where I was going with that, but that's just what happened. I'm just a historian. Don't blame me. Matt A. Max said, this is gay. Nothing about that was gay. The fact that you said it is gay though. So, it's like one of those guys who goes around and says like, everyone's gay all the time. And it's like, do you have something you want to tell us, Gerald? He's like, all right, I'm self-conscious. Let's Get It Started in Here by Black Eyed Peas. I feel like I don't hate the Black Eyed Peas, but I would say that the Humpty Dance was probably better than that song. And I'm not saying that song's not good because it's like a newer song that ages well, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like that song's kind of corny. It's like, let's get it started in here. Every cruise I always go on, they play that Black Eyed Peas song, I Got a Feeling. So clearly it aged well, but it's like, I got a feeling. And then it's like, put my hand, Mazel Tov, spend it up. And I'm like, dude, this song is sus. I get it's like, it hypes you up, but it's like, fill my cup, Mazel Tov. And then, all the Jewish homies are like, for sure. And then they're like, kick it off. And then all the white people are like, oh, I get that. Kick it off. And then, the black people, dude, it's a song that brings all the races and religions together. But I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like Black Eyed Peas went really mainstream, which is fine. But I don't know. I feel like they're like Flow Rida, like they were big, but it's like, I'm not going to like a Black Eyed Peas concert so I can hear them be like, kick it. You're like, all right, dude. And Flow Rida is like, my house, I got a house. And I'm sampled a cool song. It's like, what? I don't even remember how that song went about his house. Welcome to my house. Dude, that had the boomers going, the zoomers going. Everybody liked that song because everyone could relate. They're like, welcome to my house. And you're like, yeah, my house is great, dude. Like, it's a great song. But I was like, cringe. But, Flow Rida, he did the most with what he had. Like, he never should have been that big, or I thought was going to be that big. So he must be really good at marketing and stuff. Like that guy knows what he's doing. Shout out Flow Rida. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just like, it's not my favorite song, but it definitely like blew up. How do we get on this topic again? This is a serious news show. All right, I'm gonna end this live stream before I disrespect too many other music artists. But appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Thanks for hanging out today, and I'll be back with new videos soon. Next week, I have a plan to do a few videos. I'm also working on a course of like 10 things to help people with social media. I realize that I'm pretty good at it, and a lot of people want to do it nowadays. I've noticed that as well, and I'm trying to find an easy, simple, not that costly way to help people. So I'm working on that. And if you want to check out my music and either love it or make fun of it, it's on you. But hopefully you like it. If not, I'll deal with it. I'll get over it. I'll get over the pain of your professional opinion. But yeah, I have a new song. It's called Don't Play. It's out on Spotify. If you listen to it on YouTube, check out the music video. If you like it, add it on Spotify or Apple Music. It helps a lot if you add stuff to a playlist. If you follow me on Spotify and stuff, there's like monthly listeners, etc. I don't know how it works, but it helps a lot, anything you do. So adding it to a playlist, if you like it, it's good for the gym. It's good for riding around town, trying to impress, I don't know, or just enjoy yourself. I don't know where I was going with that, but Don't Play by Anomaly. Check that out. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Let me know in the comment section what you think, and I will be back with more videos soon. I had a very great time today. Thank you for the entertaining couple hours.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts,
Stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk. For $5 a month, you can help support me. Support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping this show free, unimpeded, uninterrupted. I'm forever grateful. My free email list is stayintouchwithme.com. So check the links below in the description or just type in on any browser, stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. You'll find my email list, put it in there, and it's the least annoying email list you'll ever be on. I barely use it because I don't like getting emailed every day or every week. It's annoying. So I don't do it. Stayintouchwithme.com. It helps me take back some power away from big tech. Telegram, t.me/DreamRareChat or @DreamRareChat. Due to censorship, I post all my live stream and videos there. Sometimes I have some bonus content, and I try to give people a heads up when Facebook or YouTube won't. DreamRareChat at Telegram. My Instagram is @DreamRare. Thanks for everybody following there for shorter content. And DreamRareLinks.com. That's DreamRareLinks.com. Has all my stuff. My podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, my music on Spotify and Apple, my Rumble page, my BitChute and Gab page. All my links are found at DreamRareLinks.com. Thanks for